Hola. Get off my feed. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. What's up, dudes? Is this part of the dark web, dude? Because it's dark and deep and edgy, man. This is the darkest web you've ever webbed upon. My specific YouTube channel is the dark web. It's the tip of the iceberg. I was just thinking about whether it was close this time. It is. It was. I woke up like way too early today. Of course, I went to bed a little bit early yesterday. Eating salsa from New York City. Whoa. Then it's gotta be good, huh? Creeper Nick, Burger King foot lettuce. What's up, Creeper Nick? What are we producing lately? Let's take a peek. Let's take a gander into the mind of madness. Unexplained misery. Oh, 1 year ago. Damn, sorry. It's okay. Just waiting to get back on that grind, baby, that's all. Are you doing shorts? No worries. Yo, what's up? I got my YouTube replay thing back and I was 9,357 minutes of all Let's Read. Let's go, baby. That's what I like to hear. Did it show you what percentage you were at? Me hopes in the top 0.1%. Amy, thank you for the gift or two. Catherine is lost. Catherine, you now have access to bonus content. Focus on my job currently, unfortunately. Hey, no worries, no worries. There's always time, there's always time. But how's everybody doing? How was, oh, you didn't get a replay, Astrid? Wonder why. It might be on, it might be on the phone, if you have YouTube on the phone. Hey, thank you, Kenneth, good to see you. I listened to all your stories all morning while I mowed the lawn today. Kind of a ritual. Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. Nighttime ritual, daytime ritual. I want to be everywhere with all of you at all times. But I'm doing good. Hey Joel, why was the last stream blocked on YouTube? I think it was because of the music that I had. Because remember I showed you guys a few songs that I liked, and I think they just like blocked it in America, like due to copyright. Oddly enough, I think people in the UK could watch it. What, a YouTube on a phone? You gotta put a whole YouTube on a rotary phone and listen to it. Bring it up to your ear, type in your favorite channel into the numbers, and I will pop up. Am I still powerlifting? I was until recently. Now I just kind of do bodybuilding stuff at like a commercial gym. And honestly, I sort of prefer it that way. Like, I can still go heavy on things like hack squat and whatever. I just really don't have any interest in like compound lifts as much anymore, because I just think it's, you know, prone to injury and all that kind of stuff. So you love me, I love you too. How is Joel? And can I borrow your squatty potty? Dude, you should buy one. Squatty potties are the shit. Do I still have all my teeth? I think so. Of course, sometimes I have dreams that I'm losing them. Any gaming news? The only gaming news I saw recently, and we can look up more, was the fact that like AI, the people that make the RAM for computers, is focusing all of their production over to like AI companies to produce their RAM, their random access memory. So like building a PC, the cost of RAM is supposed to go up like 600% or something stupid. I mean, I guess it's going to taper off or whatever. I 100% stopped deadlifting just because of that. Yeah, the hex bar deadlift is kind of nice because it's like, it's sort of an in-between of like front, you know, your your quads and your posterior chain, and it just seems generally safer. But even with that, I'm just like, you know what, fuck this shit. Like, I can, at least with machines, I can still work the muscles individually, take it to failure, and you know, you're Gucci. Hey, yeah, Catherine, thank you for the gifter too. Lost in Empath. Well, you both are lost. Catherine is lost and lost in Empath. What a coinky-dink. Have you seen the steam machine I have? Yeah, it's... I mean, somebody made a point related to the excessive cost of RAM now, or what it will be, that building steam machines just might not be viable anymore, you know, for steam because of how expensive it's going to be. So that's kind of a curiosity. Are these stories true? These are the truest stories you ever done heard. When I take time off a gym, I find it hard to get back into it. That's understandable. You just gotta, like, take it slow, you know, have AI write you a program, or have, you know, a trainer write you a program, and just get back into it. And, you know, you're not going to be like right back to where you were right out the gate, but as long as you're doing something, you'll figure it out over time. 5 gifters from Sharon Harvey. Thank you for the 5 gifters to Brandon Bunderson, Carol Williamson, Simply Sims, the Jinja Ninja, and Tessa Robles. Thank you so much, Sharon. Appreciate you. Welcome, friends. You now have access to bonus content. Did you see the hit on QB Mendoza? Was that in the Big Ten championship or something with Indiana, Ohio State? Am I wrong? I know it was crazy because I found out that it was his little brother that was his backup or something. But then he got back in. What was the hit again? I don't even remember. Did they knock him out or some shit? He seemed like he was good pretty fast. But I was happy to see Ohio State lose. I'm sick of they're always bullying everyone forever. Zapada. Thank you for the 27 months. Hardly even use these sup. What's up, bro? What's up, Omar? Wart. I'm glad a new console is coming out, especially since Xbox seems to be dying. Yeah, and it seems Xbox is trying to create a Steam machine as well. It seems like all these people, they have the inside information, and then they rush to try to, like, match what the other ones are doing, which, and, you know, I like competition. And obviously Microsoft has the, you know, their operating system or whatever is the one to use for Windows because they got the monopoly on that shit. So transitioning everybody between like Xbox over to like a PC system and that kind of seamless process should be an interesting transition. I am here, finally caught alive. I haven't been able to been here. You are a #1 channel. I got my replay this week. New video posted on my channel tonight on a cult. Nice, that's cool. Crime Girl, what's the cult about? Let's see, 3 months ago, the Burger Chef Murders. Oh, damn. Has any of your videos, like, popped off? Oh, someone got some 21K. Okay. My, my true crime channel, Saturn Soul, like, randomly, some of the videos will do well, but then, I don't know. It's weird to, like, see one, like, this one about, like, a sadistic cult got 319,000, which was wild. And then the one, Stockholm Syndrome got 140K. It's just tough knowing what to title things. I think I have found out that I don't think people really like history. People like history, but I don't think within a specific channel it's like you kind of have to choose one or the other. Maybe. I don't know. How many stories you got tonight? I think we got 4 stories tonight. You should start a company, Macro Hard, to compete with Microsoft. I know. Just call it Big Cock. Saturn Soul is such a good name. Thank you. I wanted to use it for a band forever, but I'm like, fuck it. This will be my true crime channel. I popped off with shorts, so my long form videos don't do, unfortunately. I prefer making the long form ones. Well, yeah, and the long form ones are the ones that pay, No one makes any money off shorts, sadly, so. But, I mean, it is a good way to, like, promo yourself. So I'm sorry for lying about my team. What did you lie about? I didn't see. Simpsons video. Oh yeah, the Gleb video is funny. Oh no, it's just nonsense. No worries. There's so many silly memes on the internet. But I finished watching what's it called? Smiling Friends season 3. Have you guys seen it? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? It was a very good season, and I hope they make 468,000 more. Just had someone break into my house. It's a long story, but it seems like it's a stalker because my family was home. The person had been watching me in my sleep. Cops swarmed the house. That's fucking crazy, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. What's gonna happen? Do you get like a restraining order on them? I wonder why it kind of makes me wonder. Like, I wonder if I got the stalker gene in me. You know what I mean? Because it seems like there's so many fucking nutso-butso dudes out there who stalk women, right? Women do it too, but it's obviously less frequent. But you know, you just sit there and you see people do like... I've just never been like super motivated to like go watch anybody while they sleep, you know? But, you know, never say never. Just subscribe to the other channel, Love True Crime. Hey, thank you, January Larry. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, we've got a new video out every, I think it's every Tuesday, every two Tuesdays. Every 2 Tues. It's on Eckankar and Midwestern called to experience when I worked for a convention center. Oh, interesting. I don't think I've heard of that before, so that's pretty sweet. You have to be crazy to break into a house these days. Everyone's packing heat and ready to turn your head into a canoe. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't end up that way, honestly. Your eyeballs are falling. It's okay, it's time for some sweepy weepies. If that's the case. We will send you to Dreamland Land. Not everyone lives in America. Yes, they do, Ollie. Yes, they do. Every single person is from some state. Some people live in India, America. Some people live in China, America. Some people live in UK, America. And we all got fucking hand cannons ready to rock. Are stop signs just suggestions? I do believe that they are, honestly. Lately I have not been stopping for red lights. I know that sounds bad, but I just think, you know, when you can assess the situation as you're coming up, and you're like, you know what? I think we're good. I just go for it, you know? I've just had enough. We have not been able to locate the person. Cops were too late. All we know is the person seemed to be after me specifically. It seemed... Holy shit, this is loud. I'm sorry. The person seemed to be after me specifically, and it seemed like they had it planned. It's a long story, as I said. Yeah, Jesus. Some of us even have meat canyons ready to go. Ready to fire our goo. But yeah, I'm really sorry about that with the stalker. That's fucking just crazy. Are you in a state where you can get like protection, or you know what you should get? You should get a fucking dog. Dude, dogs are so good for just general protect. Like, sure, they can be annoying, but they're also really nice and lovable. And when it comes to like protecting the house, they at least like exist as like a deterrent. You know what I mean? If someone hears a fucking dog going crazy at 3 a.m, they're probably not going to try to watch you in your sleep. Not, you know, not trying to make light of it, but it's just, dogs are fucking awesome. Did a 17-hour shift last night, ready to go, but still get sleep tonight. Let's go. How do you come up with and remember endings? It's actually during these streams. So for anybody new to the streams, basically what we do as the timer comes to a close here, we'll switch over to a more spooky scene and record the stories. There are going to be a lot of start and stops. Going to be a lot of questions asked. A lot of ADHD all over the place. Bongalongo moments, but it's all right. You know, we'll get it done. We'll get the video out, and you guys will think of something funny for me to say at the end of the video. I pretend I don't want a dog to my kids, so that way, when I surprise them with one someday, they'll be even more hype. That's amazing. Dude, you should get one of those, like, white labs. I mean, I don't know how good on protection they would be, but they always just seem like they're so well trained. Like, every service dog I see is always like a lab. Dude, I swear to God, listening to these stories has made my ass fatter. Y'all should listen more. Yeah. Makes you hit the glute the glute machine. You love me? Love you too. Top 5% gang, let's go. I don't want to sleep, but I have to. It's alright. The streams will be up tomorrow in the stream playlist as per usual if you want to go back. I do appreciate people who like go back and like listen to like the old ones just because they're, I don't know, find it entertaining. That makes me feel good. Labs and golden retrievers are fantastic for protection. Well, that's true too. I guess they would just have it in them. They got that dog in them to protect you. Shall we begin, friends? Thanks for being here. Click share, click like, click share. Appreciate you. Like we said, we got dark web stories tonight. We got 4 of those. Some thick ones. Should be interesting. I really never know where we can go with this. Holly, thank you for the 2. Thank you. I tend to listen to 2+-year-old videos because YouTube automatically recommends them, the older ones. Well, yeah, if it gets the job done of sleep and all that kind of stuff. You like this background? It's good stuff, isn't it? Have you ever been on the dark web? I have not, actually, no. I mean, you hear about it, but I mean, I just, you know. I also hear if you get on there, you have a high likelihood of getting, like, hacked and stuff, and if you're not, like, some fucking absolute technological genius, which I am not. Labs are great because they love so deeply and do anything protection-wise, but they wouldn't do anything to their owners and families. Yeah, which is very lovely. I am the dark web. I've created it. Who does your animations, drawing your videos? That's Robin Mikalsen. He is the master of GFX. He's actually working on some merch here. We got about 4 new pieces of merch coming up for the holiday season, so whenever we do some Christmas-related stories, be sure to listen to that and check out shop.spreadshirt.com/letsread. Buy yourself a hoodie for the holiday. Love you, Riz, bro. Found you after 10 years. Breakup helped me a lot. Absolutely, man. Breakups suck, but you know what? You are who you are, and you are going to get better. Just keep going. Joey Mento was always a UGA Bulldog, and Oregon Ducks was my cover, but they're my main big team. Oh. Why did you need the Oregon Ducks as a cover? I don't care what team you like. You like what you like. You think get a VPN could protect someone who goes to the dark web? No, I mean, you need like multiple layers of surveillance, and who even knows? Right, yeah, even VPNs, even in the real web, the surface web is just kind of a, I mean, what is it, a joke? What is it, a little bit of a joke? Is it there just to harvest all your data? Tor browser, high-end VPNs, all sorts. Yeah, it doesn't seem worth the effort. I mean, what's the point of even going on there, too? Like, you need to know the specific address, I'm pretty sure, to go to the places. Does Robin do 3D prints, STL designs? What's STL? 3D prints. I mean, he works in 3D, but you're curious if he can like make objects and like print them out with a 3D printer. Apologies if I got that wrong. Should I drink another Sprite? Yeah, let's go crazy. Another diet Sprite for me. What's the theme tonight? We got dark web. The darkest web. Is there really even a dark web? It's just the internet. Anyone can see anything if they look in the right place. Yeah, I imagine like at this point, if you even like get any sort of ping of access to the darkest web, I imagine at this point like intelligence agencies would immediately clock, you know, what is occurring. I don't think there's a single thing that is private ever. Do you believe America is under a color revolution? Can you elaborate what you mean by that? My apologies, I'm I'm not watching enough Hassan Piker to know follow the evolution. Ola Joe Early, yes. Drink another one else. Oh my god. Try Arizona Arnold Palmer strawberry flavored iced tea. That does sound yummy. I do love some Arnie Palmy. So today I was showing my friend your channel and so we could listen to the same stories as the smell time at work. And I noticed that there's different thumbnails and titles for iPhone and Android. Oh, well, you do have the ability to A/B test, right? So like you can A/B test thumbnails and so maybe just at the time it was showing you guys 2 of the different thumbnails that are available. I mean, you can do up to 3. All right. For a whole lot of people, 2020 was a really tough year. A lot of good folks lost their job. Some lost their minds too, I guess, and we all had trouble getting our hands on the stuff we needed. Well, the same was true for a lot of bad people too, myself included. As a functioning opioid addict at the time of the pandemic, supply chain issues and general anxiety made it much harder than usual to get a clean fix. It also made it way harder for me to make money since the restaurant I worked at was closed for weeks at a time. My stimulus check didn't last long, and then after a few weeks of burning through my emergency fund, I was starting to get a little worried. Not only that, but the number of dealers going temporarily offline for the lockdowns. 2020 sucked. Yeah, it's so strange, like looking back on the interactions during that period of time. I still remember, I think it was like Michigan. Was it Michigan? That the National Guard was like going around to people's homes and telling them to like get indoors. Like literally pointing guns at people or like beanbag guns or whatever the fuck. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, guys. Why don't we just relax? It's also kind of scary to think that the military would kind of not be able to like perceive what they're doing to people. Driving the empty Vegas Strip was eerie and cool. Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, you should have got a video of that. They put locks on back wall hoops. Just so strange. Just like such an abstract and weird time. Globally, yes, 2020 sucked, but I was just stuck in my house with my now wife for months. It was an incredible year for me personally. Yeah, I guess you probably had a chance to really get to know each other. There are signs of a color revolution, and we are in one. All right, let's look it up. I feel like I need to... What would be signs of a color revolution in America? Joe, I do have videos of the empty Vegas. Oh, okay, nice, yeah. Should tag me in one. Bro, 2020 was awesome for me. I lived in Michigan and traveled and spent so much time, family time. Oh, alright, well I guess some people had a good time. They had police patrolling the parks. A lot of people got divorced that year. Yeah, just they realized, they're like, oh fuck, I'm stuck with this person. Isn't all internet dark since you can look up anything? Yeah, I think it's just a definition of maybe like the links or whatever. I'm not really sure. Let's see. These patterns usually appear together, not individually. Okay, so large protests that suddenly adopt the same color, slogan, first logo ribbon. Branding looks PR level, not grassroots, professional placards, hashtags, merch. Messaging strategy appears globally synchronized rather than locally inspired. Every major outlet across the political spectrum suddenly repeats, illegitimate ruler, threat to democracy, must be removed from safety and stability, no nuance, no dissenting coverage, pure delegitimization. Previously low-profile candidate activist suddenly becomes the voice of freedom, defender of democracy, etc. Mass foreign press coverage before domestic popularity, NGO networks amplify them nonstop. There's an explosion of human rights monitors, transparency NGOs, civic resistance organizations, protest training groups. They often receive identical funding sources and identical talking points. Western and EU intelligence adjacent foundations are typically involved. Color revolutions aimed not to defeat the regime militarily, but to fracture loyalty. Police unions refusing orders, military generals giving public political statements, defections framed as protecting democracy, whistleblowers suddenly appear in media, leaked classified information targeting one faction only, open political statements from former intelligence heads. This happened in Ukraine, Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Arab Spring. This is the heart of a color revolution, erode belief in lawful authority. Months prior, the only way they can win is by cheating. Related to elections, results, no matter which way, are declared invalid. Sanction threats, embargoes, Western paramilitary resolutions condemning the government. Election observers declaring results unacceptable. Bot amplification, organic viral clips later traced to PR firms. Twitter and X suddenly full of uniform slogans and branded protest videos. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what we've for sure noticed for the past decade here is the sort of play back and forth of the Hegelian dialectic, which we've talked about before. And I think it, you know me, I'm very maybe it's too much of a reduction of things, but I definitively feel like it all kind of ties back to intelligence agencies, and there is a desire to create division in this country because it's easier to sort of preemptively prepare people's mind for whenever things do kind of break down. It's just like a slow process of creating that back and forth between, the administration, the media, conflicts in the military. It's just sort of laying that foundational narrative that I don't think will ever go away, sadly. Now, you could say, I don't know, I guess does it just come down to our reaction to it? Or does it not even matter what our reaction to said sort of divisionary narrative there is, as long as it just plays out and we don't interfere? Because that's kind of what it is. Am I still playing Arc Raiders? Not really. Definitely not as much as I was. I kind of think I just get the idea, you know what I mean? And I don't really, I'll go on Stella Montis, I guess, here and there, just to see if I can get some free shit. But then beyond that, it's dude, I want to try some of the good-ass weapons, but I don't want to fucking, grind my brain into a pulp. Just one step forward, 3 steps back every goddamn time. Exercise and tyranny. My wife is from China. We need to look at their COVID response using an example of what not to do if you want a free society. For sure. We've discussed the future of America, at least from a top-down perspective, seems to be a desire for something similar to China, where it's a capitalistic system, but it all kind of answers to a centralized party, as well as the usage of mass surveillance, probably some degree of social credit system. That's not to say that that's going to happen anytime soon, but it could. And I'm not really, not really for that, you know what I mean? I'd rather drink my diet Sprites in peace. My friend has his kid in China during lockdowns, and they were much more strict, locking them in their apartment. Yes, I remember seeing early on, weren't people getting welded into their fucking apartments? Was I wrong? There was just so much crazy fucking shit. Holy crap. And then obviously it was also one of the biggest transfers of wealth, to the upper 1% in the history of ever, with the printing of money. Crazy shit, man. I don't know. I guess we're all a lot more aware of things, but I imagine the only way you can progress forward after something like that is to it has to be really, really chaotic. Patrick Eisenhower, thank you for the 5, Patrick. Love you, bro. They welded people, particularly political dissidents. Right, yeah, I guess a lot of it's just used as an excuse. I don't know. That's kind of what we're noticing here in America is so many things have been just used as an excuse. Think about the amount of censorship that you see on the internet since 10 years ago. Back in 2015, I remember it was just whatever the fuck you want to say, just fucking say it. And things have eased off a little bit, but it's still the fact that you're just loosely comfortable with I mean, even like the term misinformation is just like strange to me, because it's like a word that's like straight out of a fucking CIA handbook. You know what I mean? Like when someone uses the term like that's misinformation, it's like you're not a secret agent, bro. You're not in some agency with any sort of degree of ability, but like the fact that it comes out of people's mouths so freely, like they know fucking anything, that's always been strange to me. And then the fact that people are just kind of like cool with, oh, he said something? Well, let's fucking kill him. I don't know. Hopefully people are becoming less open, to those overextensions of government in general. And just a lot more savvy to the spell. Because, I mean, that's what all it is like this constant back and forth of that, like, Hegelian dialectic is really just a spell cast upon your mind, you know what I mean, over and over again, to divide you, to confuse you, to keep you from ever, like, cooperating with your fellow citizens to, like, make progress towards anything. But then it's also just, like, all of these sort of, like, algorithmic rabbit holes that you get sent down to essentially condition your mind towards, like, maybe not necessarily towards like the extreme stuff in the way that some people would be led to believe, like you're on the XYZ pipeline. They always say that shit. But I think what a lot of the times these algorithms that you get fed is to almost like prepare your mind for when the bad thing happens, so that when it happens, you can be the one that says, like, see, I told you so. But it's like, just saying, see, I told you so doesn't really fucking mean anything. It just means that you, like myself, are very lazy. As a person 56 years of age, I'm always thinking about how much the world changed in the last half century. Seems like it changes pretty fast and just keeps getting faster. If you Google random word like coffee, you no longer get hundreds of search results like years ago. It's just a few results because all the censorship. Yeah, and people have made a good point where it's like same with AI. Like if AI becomes the new sort of Google search, you only ever get like one curated opinion. You can't, siphon through many, many results. You now have to just get like whatever some stupid robot voice tells you is reality. Sorry if you've been asked this question already, but do you do YouTube full-time or do you other things for income? YouTube, yeah. YouTube and podcast is my full-time whirly gig. I'm a conditionist for years today. This reality seems like a sitcom script. I know, it's so embarrassing. I mean, even when you look at characters like the president of Ukraine, like the fact that like he had like an entire comedic television show that where he was like some, political outsider that came in and changed things, and then, now that's what he became. Like, it's weird. It really does seem like they just kind of like put things in front of you to kind of just like prepare your brain for like an anticipated reaction. So it's never like, it almost makes me wonder if like people get shocked too much. Maybe the shock is kind of like what makes them be like, what the fuck? But if they sort of expect it, then they're just like, well, let's just try to make it through it. Why can't I do Twist of History on my own? Just contractual obligation kind of thing. It's like that's their show and they're writers and all that kind of stuff, so. Which story sticks with you? Has you thinking, what the rip? I don't know. What are the good ones? What do you guys think? Oh, there's Justin. What's up, bro? And French fry. Not only that, but the number of dealers going temporarily offline for the lockdowns was getting higher and higher, which in turn drove up the price of everything. I needed a money-making scheme and fast, so I tried all kinds of things, including setting up a .onion domain. Now, a .onion domain is basically a website on the dark web. Now, I can hear all you nerds howling, actually, already, but that's basically what it is, and to be honest, it was a little more than a joke to start with. Now, I wanted to learn how to set up a tour site anyways, so what I uploaded ended up just being somewhere between a joke and a Hail Mary, and I worked pretty hard on it, and when it went live, I felt pretty damned proud of it. And then plastered at the top of the page was the site's title and concept, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, or 5D for short. Now, it was a reference to one of my all-time favorite AC/DC songs, and I figured it was the perfect way to sell a very specific set of services to the people of East Texas and Western Louisiana. Now see, I might have been a scumbag drug addict, but I was also something of an adrenaline junkie too. I wasn't out to walk old ladies' dogs or help people move apartments. I wanted to do something exciting, something to liven up lockdown, so I offered people a chance to get revenge. Whether it was a bitter ex or some a-hole boss, I was offering to pull a mean prank on them for a prearranged price. Clients paid half before the job and half after, on pain of their victim finding out exactly who paid for the prank to be pulled. I didn't think it would get much traction. I mean, it's not like it was a surface layer website that'd show up on Google if I paid them a few bucks a month. A person needed a Tor browser to get access to 5D, and normies don't use Tor. But then one day, I checked the site's email address on a total whim and was surprised to find a job request in its inbox. Now, the message was from an anonymous user, as they all were, who said their ex-boyfriend was an abusive a-hole who needed to be taken down a peg. Now, I offered to shove a... Oi. One thing I didn't realize is unemployed stimulants can run out, or that did happen to the host of a podcast said searching for a job as a young adult almost happened to him, then finally offered a job in the 60s. Wait, what are we talking about? By the way, just letting you know I did eat Thanksgiving dinner, including all the foods I'm not supposed to eat, and had severe acid reflux for days afterwards. Totally worth it. Severe acid reflux for days. Yeah, dude, you should look into, obviously apple cider vinegar, like before you eat, just to like acidify your stomach to break down the food easier. But then what's the other one, like betaine? Let me look it up. Oh, you just start there on YouTube, and you can expand outwards, and you might be able to treat your acid reflux in a much more naturalistic way. Who up sobbing they tears to for good? What are you talking about? Yeah, you don't want to use... I mean, I'm not a proponent of like Zantac or any of those antacids, because from what I've gathered, and I've talked about this for years, is that whenever you consume these particular foods, and then you're like usually high amounts of like carbohydrates, there's certain bacteria in your stomach that, from feeding on the carbohydrates, they release bicarbonate, which makes your stomach acid very basic in the acid basic scale, right? And then whenever that happens, it's like your esophageal, sphincter, which goes from your esophagus, from your mouth down your esophagus into your stomach. That sphincter opens up, and then the acid is very weak, and the stomach muscles in your stomach are trying to like move all that shit around, slosh the acid around to break down the food, but then it shoots up into that sphincter area into the throat, and it causes the acid reflux, where the acid is like burning the interior of your esophagus, making you feel like you're having a goddamn heart attack, right? So if you take things like Zantac, you take things like antacids or whatever, you might be treating it for a little bit, but you're only treating the symptoms. You're not treating the cause, which I believe the underlying cause, from what I've looked into, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but it seems to be basically your stomach acid is very weak, and you need to strengthen it by consuming some 2 tablespoons of like apple cider vinegar mixed into 8 ounces of water prior to eating, just to like help acidify your tummy acid, Hey, Rick Campbell with the Big 20 says VPNs hide your IP browsing for ISP but not device IDs. Apps claiming to spoof them are often unreliable, risky, or ineffective. Yeah, it makes total sense. Probably not worth fucking around with that. But thank you so much, Rick, for the 20. Very kind of you, my friend. Appreciate you. Well, that's the thing, is like in nursing, it's not like nursing taught me that. That was just like looking up like what the issues are, and eventually coming across like this more, holistic approach with the apple cider vinegar, which apple cider vinegar is like kind of like a miracle thing in general, helping with like so many different things. But in nursing, it would just be the same sort of pharmaceutical approach where they would want you to give, I don't even know what, like milk of magnesia or some shit. And just basically something that like neutralizes the acid that's getting sloshed around, which helps the symptoms, but then, it's not going to help the underlying cause. Any dairy is bad for it since any fat triggers it, right, yeah. I mean, it might just be the heavy amounts of carbs in that causing a proliferation of that, like, bacteria. I've experienced acid reflux until my first pregnancy. I still had no clue what it was. My doctor had to explain it. Yeah, I can imagine during pregnancy, like, especially with a human body growing inside of you, it probably shifts quite a bit of things around in your stomach, making the, like, space in which you can store food much smaller, or just, like, shifted. Apple cider vinegar tastes like stinky feet. Well, yeah, you have to dilute it in water, like 8 ounces of water. Do I mean Xanax? No. Xanax is like it's like what the fuck? Sorry. Xanax is in the family of Jesus. I just like totally, yeah, it's a benzo. Sorry, it's highly addictive. Be careful with Xanax. I miss your LSD bad trip stories. You tell those stories again. Yeah, we could look into it. Maybe like as bonus content. We need more Saturn Soul. Your voice paired with that content is top notch. Thank you, friend. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of videos and who knows, maybe we'll get enough backup videos that we can start releasing weekly. But as of right now, we're just doing it every other Tuesday until we kind of like build an audience and build up a back catalog. You hum on shrooms in remote view. What has your remote viewing experience been like? Now, I offered to shove a bunch of sardines into the vent of his car and explained how they'd be stinking to high heaven after just a day or two in the summer heat. Now, she thought that was a good idea, transferred me half that Bitcoin, and then that night, I drove over to the address that I'd been given where I did the dirty deed. Now, I then took photographic evidence and then received the second half of the payment once I'd driven back home. Now, the girl seemed real happy with the end result, and so she was only too happy to pay. And then when I told her to recommend me to a friend, she actually did, and I got my second job just a couple of days later. Those first 2 jobs were the only ones that I had for like 3 months, but when the second stay-at-home order was issued by Greg Abbott, I guess more and more people decided to screw around on the dark web, but slowly and surely, business started to pick up. Now, I smeared a bunch of dog crap on some guy's front door handle, apparently because he stiffed a client out of an overtime pay. Now, I smeared a bunch of dog crap on some guy's front door handle, apparently because he stiffed a client out of overtime pay. And then I plastered this lady's house in a bologna mosaic. Bologna. Why is bologna spelled like Bologna? You need to tell the story of the group of snow hikers found murder and some naked tents destroyed. No clue what happened to them. I think I did do that one, honestly, way back. Well, it was on this channel. It was at the Dyatlov Pass, because I definitely covered that in like a mysteries episode. I then plastered this lady's house in a bologna mosaic because the acid in cheap bologna etches clear coat in the sun and ruins a paint job. And I was told that she gave a kid a bad grade for something petty personal. reason, but I didn't care, as long as the Bitcoin arrived in my wallet. Now, I patrolled a bunch of glitter onto a driveway. Now, I even rolled a bunch of glitter onto a driveway, sprayed a bunch of herbicide onto a lawn so it spelled out a curse word, and I once painted a house with pure fish emulsion at night. It seeps into whatever it touches and makes a place smell like low tide mixed with death for like 6 weeks. And as you can tell, I became something of an artist when it came to pulling especially mean pranks. And then with all the photographic evidence that I was uploading to the site, visitors were able to see how serious and effective I was, and that generated a lot of business. Now things started fairly light, shall we say, with my mainstay being revenge. Did you know wisdom teeth contain stem cells? Don't get rid of it. Are you supposed to like eat them? Crush them down? Yeah, I feel like if you're going to extract stem cells, it's probably not from your baby teeth. You're like telling your kid, hey, don't throw that out, don't throw that out. Don't let them take your wisdom teeth. That just seems like a TikTok. Attention, don't let them take your wisdom teeth. There are stem cells in there, and you could crush them down into a fine powder, put them in an injectable, and put it into your shoulder to help save your shoulder. So the hype button does not happen on this YouTube channel. Maybe that's a YouTube glitch from old channels. Don't have that function, but only the new ones. Yeah, channels under, I think it's channels under a certain amount of subscribers get the hype button. The Tooth Fairy is a CIA program to harvest our stem cells. I fucking knew it, bro. Things started fairly light, shall we say, with my mainstay being mean revenge pranks. But then as time went on, the job started to get a little more sinister. And one time a user asked me to take a package from a deserted pickup point to a deserted dead drop, and I knew it was probably drugs or something, maybe a hot pistol wrapped up tight in a t-shirt and taped up. But the price was right, and so the job was done. And I used to get similar or identical jobs maybe once or twice a week too, so those were my big earners for a while. But then came stuff that really started to push my limit. One time I was instructed to pick up a thumb drive from this dead drop, and then I had to take it to some dude over in Kilgore who either put something on it or copied something from it before taking it back to the dead drop. I don't know what the heck was on that thumb drive, and neither do I want to. But from the look of the dude that I dealt with, whatever it was very, very nasty. And that was the first time that I got home from a job and figured that I should probably be a little bit more choosy when it came to the jobs I took. I wasn't even desperate for cash by then either, because the restaurant had opened again and I was getting shifts. Now I wasn't going to do it for money anymore. I was kind of just doing it for kicks. I did a few more jobs, nothing too sinister, but I was really starting to notice the change in clientele. I was getting fewer and fewer jobs that could be described as harmless pranks, and more that, like those others, made me feel sick to my stomach once they were over and done with. I'd already decided to close this site when that last request came in, but as you'll soon see, I had no choice but to entertain it when I saw how much money they were talking. And so by this stage, I was checking 5D's email only once or twice a week instead of every day. I was mostly just skimming the emails, turning my nose up to all the weirder requests that were most likely way more illegal than just making someone's car smell like anchovies. But then, I saw this one request, one which promised me way more money than I'd ever been paid for. Paid before. Have you ever seen how much hospitals make on placentas? I've not seen it, no. Wasn't there like a Project Veritas video where that person was like selling bits and pieces? It was kind of disturbing. Why do people keep finding teeth at McDonald's if it's not human meat and Soylent Green? Who's finding teeth? Did you find teeth in there? If so, that's easy stem cells, bro. Wouldn't it be funny to find out that when you eat at McDonald's, all your injuries and pain just goes away? Tom Cruise ate placenta. Good, man. He's probably hungry. McDonald's is just straight placenta. That would be like one of the greatest and terrible like bombshells ever, to find out that the majority of chicken nuggets is just abortions or whatever. Don't forget the donation from Blake Alejandro. Oh my gosh, sorry Blake. What the 5? Thank you, Blake. Says Joel, the public wants to know, what's your favorite color? I like green, like an aqua green, seafoam green perhaps. I don't know, something about green is just, it's got it going on, man. But thank you for the 5, friend. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, Soylent Green, my favorite color. I still remember like being in 5th grade and there was this one kid named Andrew who would just come in and make references to Soylent Green. He would just be like, Soylent Green is people, man. Soylent Green is people. You know, and I'm fucking 10 when he's saying this shit to me. I'm like, what the fuck is Soylent Green? And he's like, it's a movie, man. Have you even seen Soylent? I forget if it's a Twilight Zone episode or what it is. But I remember like I hadn't seen the episode till like well into like my college years. And I just remember like all the memories came back. I was like, oh, that's what that fucking little dingus. It was a movie called Soylent Green. Okay, yeah. But I swear there was like a Soylent Green Twilight Zone episode from like way before. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like, you know, some similar story. There's an SNL skit about Soylent Green. Nice. Painted my living room all by myself, the independent woman that I am, and rearranged my living room as well. Let's freaking go. I'm going to slightly close my eyes, but try not to sleep. At least not yet. To Serve Man is a cookbook. Oh, wait, that's the episode? It's a cookbook? They touched on it in Cloud Atlas? Really? Oh, Conspiracy Queen, where you been? We've had many questions to ask you. Oh yeah, Conspiracy Queen, what, first off, what? No, but what do you think? Do you think it's a simulation type scenario? And do you think when you die, your soul gets recycled? Or do you think it's like a specific religion? The Headless Man was good. Thanks for that. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'm glad you liked it. Joe, you want me to come paint your walls and rearrange your living room too? I'm good. Right now. I'm good right now. We'll keep you in mind. But then, I saw this one request. One which promised me way more money than I'd ever been paid before. I charged a couple of $100 for basic jobs, a couple of $1,000 for much more complex or costly ones, like the Tvis. It's a monster. Do I believe in the Gnostic soul prison? I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. There's a part of me, though, that, like, feels like I keep being shown it, but it could just be like I'm being curated. I don't know. Do you ever wonder, like, all the shit you're being shown? It's like I grew up Christian, right? But now all the stuff I keep seeing is like Gnostic soul prison stuff, and I'm like, maybe someone is trying to like slowly condition my mind to not believe said, you know, Christianity. We're living multiple lifetimes at once. A shaman told me. You're supposed to trust every shaman you see. They are the law. How do you get it? Do you have to apply for a shaman's license? Or can you just, like, be a drug dealer? You can get an assassin for $10,000. Jesus, dude. God. Can you imagine being an assassin for 10 grand? Just go start a YouTube channel. Come on. Made homemade wonton soup tonight. So easy and delicious. Comfort food. That does sound really chill. Nice and warm. Maybe some dumplings. Being a shaman is something just kind of happens. Do you guys think I'm a shaman? Do you think my sort of like natural storytelling abilities have any sort of like significance within like an old traditions? Gnostic teachings are Madame Helena Blavatsky and the Order of the Golden Dawn, ancient mysticism. Yeah, and what do you believe in? Dip the bread in the soup, life is good. Apply for shamanship, yeah. It's a weekend course. It basically just, it's like, do you have any weed? And if you do, and you can provide that to the shaman who gives out the licenses, he'll make you one. And a fake ID. And he'll give you an STD as well. I'm a savant. I'm autistic as well. Thank you. Some of us can't tell a story with excitement. I used to listen to Mr. Ballin. Yeah, how's Mr. Ballin doing? You guys watch any of his newer content lately? You had been a keeper of the ancient worlds, the one who would decipher the old wisdom. I knew it, dude. I knew that was me the whole time. I probably got like a big fucking book or a scroll that I read from. I charged a couple of $100 for more basic jobs, a couple of $1,000 for much more complex or costly ones like the fish one, but this one was offering me $10,000 for a single night's work. Now I emailed them back, saying if the job involved physically hurting anyone, I wasn't interested, and they replied saying that I wouldn't have to hurt anyone, but that the job might require coercion and possibly some physical force too. But for 10 grand, I was more than willing to get a little handsy with someone if I could guarantee a clean getaway. And only then did I ask what they needed, and only then did they drop the bombshell on me. They wanted me to kidnap someone. Now obviously I had questions, and the first one was, who? Now I wasn't expecting the answer they gave me, and not because of the name they gave me either, very much the opposite. You see, they didn't give me a name. They just told me, anybody. And once they told me the job was to kidnap literally any female, preferably an adult, but a child would do, I was thinking, no way, dude. This is either a prank or a fed. But then they lost me altogether by claiming that they were part of some big, shadowy organization that liked to partake in, of all things, live cannibalism. That's not just regular old cannibalism either, people. Like the kind that kept the Donners... Oh, that's funny, they reference the Dude, the story references the Donner Party. We were just talking about that. That's hilarious. Because the Donners, I think, was the Dyatlov Pass or whatever. We're like Daft Punk, but better. Daft Punk. The toughest part is to understand that the creation is predictable and that can cause glitches, as it were. That looks like it's a simulation, but mostly poor understanding. So yeah, what happens after? What occurs later? Do we have to prepare for anything upon death, or just say like, I would not like a life review, please. I would like to go on to the next dimension of existence, or something of that nature. My oldest daughter was finally diagnosed with Asperger's 12 years after I brought it up and wanted her evaluated. Yeah, what happens now? I want y'all to try hum healing. You see, you hum 10 minutes a day. You touch base with me. Let me know how you feel. No more involved. We can go deeper. Would it be able to eat human flesh organs to survive? I mean, who knows? Honestly, who fucking knows? I always think about that. There's always like some annoying, for lack of a better words, dumb bitch on fucking TikTok who's always bitching about something, right? They're always complaining. They're always yammering on about how much they hate where they're from. Blah, 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 fucking blah, blah, blah. But can you imagine that exact person and the things that they complain about would feel when they haven't eaten for fucking a month? Like what kind of ravenous beast they would become to survive. In some weird, sick and twisted way, I almost like need to see that person change. Severe flood warning, and I'm supposed to go in a river for work tomorrow. I'm supposed to go in a river? Getting flash flooded. What are you doing in the river? Be sure to check and make sure that BlackRock doesn't want any of the land that's going to get the flooding. Once you check that, you can decide to call out. Hey guys, sorry I can't come in for 9/11 today. I got some stuff to do. Can make a good steak tacos out of you, Joel. Fava beans. That's not just regular old cannibalism either, people. Like the kind that kept the Donner Party going. Live cannibalism involves amputating parts of your victim while they're still alive, and then cooking and consuming said parts while the victim is forced to watch. I called the guy out, told him I didn't believe a word of that, and said that he wouldn't be hearing from me again. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is when they sent me their X-pub. Now, without getting too technical, if you put someone's X-pub, Y-pub, or Z-pub into an extended public address in a blockchain explorer, you see their total crypto balance for any given wallet. It's not a particularly smart thing to show a stranger because you can see this person's transaction history too, not just the amount of crypto they've accrued. But this is how I realized this guy wasn't some bullcrapper and wasn't some edgy 15-year-old doing it for the lols. The guy had $500,000 worth of Bitcoin, and his transaction history showed evidence of major traffic. He was 100% legit. Bitcoin was moving in poop coin. Bitcoin. Sheathcoin. How am I? I'm doing good. How are you? You guys watching any football today? Krista Miners, welcome to the Buttersalt Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Your mom took Tylenol and now you're artistic. That'd be funny. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, just tangentially you had some sort of psychical connection with your mother, and the more Tylenol she took, like, after giving birth to you, you just, like, felt yourself getting a little hazy. You're like, whoa, dude. I really like Sonic the Hedgehog now, and I can't quite pinpoint why. You were born on coke. Fuck yeah, coming out the gate flaming hot. Bitcoin was moving in and out of that wallet every single day, and some of the transactions were way higher than just 10K. It was probably the strongest evidence this guy could have possibly presented to me to prove that he was legitimate, and so as you can imagine, I was pretty stunned. But I wasn't horrified. Not yet. And just because the guy had a ton of Bitcoin at hand didn't mean that it wasn't a prank. But instead of... Conspiracy Queen, your kid's autistic? Do they have any sort of special interests or, like, maybe psychic abilities or anything like that? Just because the guy had a ton of Bitcoin at hand didn't mean it wasn't a prank. But instead of dismissing my concerns, this guy made every effort to address them. They wouldn't give me any details regarding their organization, only that they existed. But on the off chance any of the girls' remains were found and a murder investigation was opened, they also didn't want anyone who'd freak out and go to the cops. They wanted someone who could live with themselves, having sold a human life for just a few $1,000s, and I guess they figured that person was me. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. As I ended up talking to this anonymous and apparently very wealthy user from around 11 at night to 3:30 in the morning, talking methods, techniques, and logistics. They had a drop-off location lined up and claimed that they could guarantee the site's security, but they also offered help in planning the actual kidnap and offered me a bunch of advice on how to coerce, intimidate, and overpower my potential victim. I actually typed out a bunch of it, but it's probably not very YouTube-friendly to be talking about that kind of stuff in videos. Specific stuff, I mean, so I'll just skip over the particulars of what I was told. But needless to say, it was detailed, it was extensive, and it was disturbing, and to me, it was yet more proof that this person was not just some prankster with a dark sense of humor. They were for real. Now, I suppose now's a good time to make it clear that I had no intention whatsoever. Pootie Tang, we big stepping on big poop on the sidewalk, baby. Have you guys seen the movie Pootie Tang? It was actually directed and written by Louis C.K. I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through, but it's supposed to be a good movie. We smear poop on the walls in public restaurants with our bare hands. I hope that's in the movie. Tim Walsh. Oh no, that's Waltz. Tim Walsh, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content, my friend. Thank you so much. She is an artist and draws the best anime. I've laid eyes on kids, highly talented. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for these videos, Sleep Sir. You are welcome, my friend. I got humbled today attempting to thrust 190 instead of the 160 I've been thrusting for a few months. Oh, like hip thrusting. At first I was like, doing a thruster? That would be a pretty big jump. But that's okay. I mean, that is the definition of progressive overload sometimes, is just take things to failure. What's up, John? I suppose now's a good time to make it clear that I had no intention whatsoever of actually going through with the job. As in, from the moment the word kidnap appeared on screen, I was out. And then after a certain point, every single question I asked and every piece of information I extracted was purely for the benefit of law enforcement. I didn't even confirm the job with the client, I just confirmed my interest and said that I'd get back to him within 24 hours. But not even 2 hours of those had passed before I had taken 5D offline. I was exhausted afterwards and I desperately needed to get to sleep, but I couldn't, and instead, I headed out to a payphone while it was still dark. Now, I used a text-to-speech program on my phone to relay everything I'd been told to a police dispatcher, including the address of the drop-off point, which I'm assuming was the most useful to them. Wait, you're telling me a payphone existed during COVID? A little too disturbing, but I love the content. Yeah, no worries. Oh, I guess they did exist. That's kind of crazy. Wow. 100,000 nationwide. You were homeless during COVID? I'm sorry to hear that. My YouTube recap said I watched 809 Let's Read videos this year. That's crazy. That's like 2 a day or more. I used a text-to-speech program on my phone to relay everything I've been told. Any New Year's resolutions? Oh man, good question. I don't know. I just need to expand. I need to expand outwards. How did you find that information? I just asked AI. Chat BBC. We fling and poop at old people in public for Let's Read 2026. Pootie Tang. That's my 2026 resolution. To fling feces at old people's faces. Cause like, what are you doing being like older than me? You think just because you were born before me, you can just look like that? Not insanely hot. Wouldn't it be kind of crazy to like come across like a really old person and just be like stricken? To be absolutely fucking stricken by how hot they are? I feel like that might kind of confuse me a little bit. You were my #1 channel I watched this year, but that's not surprising since I fall asleep for years every night. Thank you. Yeah, no, I have like some sleep video I literally put on every night after watching Hearthstone, and my two big things was just like the sleep thing, and then a Hearthstone streamer. Just because that's my like YouTube sleep ritual. Get me more Pootie Tang. Give me more Tang. I'm trying to drink more Tang. What source do I use for videos? People send in their stories to letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Have you seen Good Boy? Oh, that's the haunted one, right? With the like a scary one with the dog. What Hearthstone streamers do I watch? I watch Jeef. You know, Jeef is like the #1 guy, but I watch Seville. I watch Beater Babbitt. I watch XQN. I used to watch Shady Bunny a lot, but I don't know. For some reason, I just watch the top dogs now, just because mainly it's kind of relaxing, but it's also like you're trying to learn about the game because they're like the gaming geniuses. Oh, it's Hearthstone Battlegrounds, so it's, you know, it's not like the normal. You like Ardu? Ardu's funny. Yeah, he's a good guy. Ardu Armor. I used to. You like Schlatt? Nice. Yeah, I love Schlatt's voice. Schlatt is like an iconic voice. I used a text-to-speech program on my phone to relay everything I've been told. What the fuck am I reading? Everything I'd been told. Okay, to a police. Anyone seen the Diddy documentary? I've not, no. It's called Diddy Do It. Boop with the 369 today is brought to you by the word sycophancy. Is that how you say it? How do you feel about 3IA Atlas? Honestly, like, yeah, we talked about it a lot. I think we kind of come to the conclusion that it's just like a meteorite that may or may not have like abstract trajectory and a tail based on like whatever is like emitting from it. But I guess it did change directions, but I don't, to what extent, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, maybe NASA just fucking sucks. Sicko fancy. Psycho fancy. Oh, psycho fancy. Psycho. Introducing Psycho. That's gonna be my gamer streamer name. Hey guys, welcome back to Psycho. I'm Psycho, and I've got fingerless gloves that have pieces of metal on them. And also I got like a fucking mohawk. What would, if there was a YouTuber named Psycho, what kind of content would Psycho make, do you guys think? Probably Roblox, huh? I used a text-to-speech program on my phone to relay everything I've been told to a police dispatcher, including the address of the drop-off point, which I'm assuming was the most useful to them, seeing as someone's name had to be tied to the deed. Now, what kept me awake, what pushed me to report what had happened rather than the 8 hours of sleep I needed, was something the anonymous user had said after I told them I wasn't interested. They told me it was 5 fingers. It's a 5-finger salary. Probably those fast cooking videos. Yeah, it'd be like a punk cooker. He was a punk head. He was addicted to opiates for a while, and then he went to culinary school and, you know, probably got fired because he smoked a doobie on shift, got caught, and now he makes food making shorts content. Would I ever collaborate with Mr. Nightmare? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I should hit him up again. Hello, Mr. Nightmare. You may know me as Psycho on my other channel. They told me it was 5 figures for one night's work, that it was worth my time and I wouldn't get caught if I only did it right. But once again, I just said not interested. In response, the guy then says, and this isn't verbatim, but I'll summarize, if you won't do it, we'll find someone who will. Now this is before I'd seen the guy's Bitcoin wallet, so the words didn't land as intended until after I'd seen it, but once I had, it changed everything. I mean, I still wasn't 100% sure that it happened. I still wasn't 100% sure that what had happened was for real, because you never really can be sure of strangers you meet online till you're well and truly knowing them. I still wasn't 100% sure that what had happened was for real, because you can never really be sure of strangers you meet online until you truly know them. But although I was creeped out enough to report it, I wasn't convinced that I'd heard anything about it, as like any sort of arrests or trials or anything of that nature. But then one day, I did. So this was in September, and I was just sort of mindlessly scrolling when I spotted a headline about a guy from Texas. And seeing as it was local news, the headline grabbed my attention right away, but what I read made my jaw drop. A man had just been convicted of soliciting murder and cannibalism on the internet, and his name was Alex Barter. Long story short, Barter ended up talking to an undercover cop online, and from what I read, he gave them very much the same Psycho does a racist gaming channel. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, where pretty much I'm just like the most racist gamer. Which is like pretty much everybody anyway, so. But they're too afraid to say it. Ugh. It's me, Psycho. Yo. We gotta stop the patriarchy first. The faster we can stop the patriarchy, the faster I can get a girlfriend. I want something to pay tribute to my kids and then my mom, and I was always looking for designs incorporating them. I used to want at the top of my foot a tattoo. Hey Pats, what's up bro? Hey Joel and everybody, happy to have made it. I've missed the last few live streams, been busy with a new job, and a lot has happened so far. Both good and bad, otherwise hope all is well. Thank you, Tiff, good to see you. Mom, it is not a phase. My crack addiction is not a phase. Long story short, Barter ended up talking to an undercover cop online, and from what I read, he gave them pretty much the same speech that I'd been given by the anonymous user. The undercover cop was offered cash to procure a kidnap victim, and just like in my case, the person was open and honest about the fate awaiting the victim. And there was nothing in any of the articles about the Bitcoin wallet that I'd seen, and there was also minor deviations in what the cop appeared to have been told. But while it all sounded very familiar, seeing a picture of Barter was confusing to say the least. If you Google image search this guy's. You're gonna get a piercing on the dimples of the lower back. If you Google image search this guy's picture, you'll agree that I'm being very generous when I say that he hardly looks like a criminal mastermind. Now, he was only 23 when he was convicted, and he was apparently acting alone. But Barter was first arrested in 2018, and it took just until 2020 to sentence. What the fuck's going on with this story? I'm so confused. Now, he was only 23 when he was convicted, and he was apparently acting alone. But Barter was first arrested in 2018, and it just took And it just took, oh. He was only 23 when he was convicted, and he was apparently acting alone. But Barter was first arrested in 2018, and it just took till 2020 to sentence him. So if that was the case, then who the heck had I been talking to if Barter had been acting alone? And that's what makes me think that there really is some kind of network of people out there. Maybe they're not quite the criminal geniuses like they like to think they are, but they've got money, and by the looks of things, they've got people too. Maybe they... God fucking damn it, I was like, I don't know why, I was good, but then I'm just not good. Maybe they're better described as fall guys or pawns if you're feeling fancy. But they got people out there doing the legwork for them to keep the rich guys' hands from getting dirty. And I think I encountered one of them, and to this day, it scares the crap out of me how people like that exist. There will be more of them too, and just like they told me, it's only a matter of time before they find someone willing to work with them. And that little factoid is something that still keeps me up at night, even all these years later. The Ruth Childs. Christine Baker, welcome back for 15 months. Says, thank you, Joel, for helping me with anxiety with your awesome voice and putting me to sleep. You're welcome, Christine. Sleep is the cure for all things. And thank you for 15 months. Guess who we talked to? It was Anthony Weiner. Why do people do the tongue piercing? Looks crazy. Yeah, I feel like it would get in the way of like talking too. You're just always like smacking against your fucking teeth. But I guess they just get it to like suck wieners more effectively or whatever. The belly button was done at 20, so it was really hard to back up my argument when I was 16 years old. One-on-one, the damn kid went and did it herself. Oh, Jesus. I feel like, do you need like an Audi? Do you need an Audi belly button to get it pierced, or can you do it with an any belly button? Joel's like the sleep fairy. He jumps from house to house, throwing sand in everyone's eyes. Pocket sand! Oh, that'd be actually hilarious. Just wearing like a tutu. Pocket sand! And then as soon as it hits you, you just like pass out like chloroform. You didn't get a tongue piercing to suck wieners? Well, there's still time, I guess. I hear it's quite useful. That's not the part of the belly button you pierce. Which part do you pierce? The happy trail. You should create a happy trail of piercings. They pierce the skin above your belly button. Oh, that's right. They go down and through. Oh, you need an innie. What if you have an Audi then? That seems a little non-inclusive to our herniation-having friends. I've rented a cabin in northern Michigan with 2 friends from Thursday until Sunday. You should show up and narrate our weekend. There's a hot tub. Let's do it. But there better be a Bigfoot in them there woods. There might be. What does Bigfoot sound like? Doesn't he sometimes just scream? Like, ah! But it's like deep. It's like a roar. Oh! You guys ever hear Bigfoot scream like that in the woods? But it's like so far. It's just like, ah! Super deep. My friend got a tongue piercing and his tongue is so swollen he can't eat. I would hate that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, who was just like, I got an idea. Let's stick a fucking hot piece of metal through your skin. And whether or not it gets infected, or you have issues later, or there's scar tissue, don't even fucking worry about it. I had a labret pierced for quite a few years. Kind of missed it. It's probably about 20 years. 20 years of piercing. What if you had a piercing so long it fucking rusted? I got fucking rust in my piercing. I'm getting old. Oh, that would actually be a really good, like, yo mama or yo grandmama. Yo mama's so old, she got rust on her pussy piercing, on her labre. Belly button piercings closed up in middle age don't look that hot. Fuck. Cancel my appointment then. Takes like a week for a tongue piercing to not hurt anymore, but for me it took a month to fully heal. Ugh, yeah. I don't know, it just like, it would really interfere with my yodeling career. And just like... Alright, where's my other? Do I have any piercings? I actually do have a piercing. It's like right on my asshole. Pierce my butt cheeks together. So every time I shit, the poop gets like cut perfect, like gets eviscerated right down the middle. It's really cut down on the amount of clogs I've had. Hello, Joel. You can call me H. I grew up in London, and when I was a kid, I had a massive interest in computers. Now, my parents did all right for themselves career-wise, meaning that they had enough money to buy a PC when they still ran on Windows 95. And I used to go crazy on MS Paint or play the video games on the floppy disks my dad had brought home from work. And to me, that computer was nothing short of magic. And then as I got older, I got more and more interested in how they worked. And then in the year 2000, Dad signed us up for a Telewest dial-up internet connection, and that changed everything. Now, I became a full-on computer nerd, and possibly at the perfect time to do so. The country was in the final stages of its IT revolution, and a degree in almost anything IT related meant that it was a ticket to gravy. A gravy ticket. Can you imagine like a train that's actually just like filled with fucking gravy? It's like the train crashes, kills like 15 workers on board, but the entire like surrounding area, they're like, was it a chemical spill? It's like, no, worse. It was gravy. Thanksgiving is canceled this year. The gravy train crashed. I want a tattoo of a Ninja Turtle on my butt. Like it's peeling out of a manhole. Oh, that would be so funny. Like, if someone was going to like do something back there, they just immediately get like a softie. Yeah, which Ninja Turtle? I'm thinking Michelangelo, probably. And he's like holding a piece of pizza, like, dude, maybe all four of them. So you get like filling up all the quadrants. It's like sort of a perspective puzzle. Crash into a mashed potato. Thankfully, the gravy train crashed into Mashed Potato Mountain, so there hasn't been any issues, actually. We've been feeding the local wildlife. To me, the computer was nothing short of magic. And then as I got older, I got more and more interested in how they worked. And then in the year 2000, Dad signed us up for a Telewest dial-up internet connection, and that changed everything. I became a full-on computer nerd, and possibly at the perfect time to do so. The country was in the final stages of its IT revolution, and a degree in almost anything IT related meant a ticket to the gravy train. Companies all over the country were practically letting IT graduates name their salaries. And because if you could run their networks and servers, Because if you could run their networks and servers and allow them access to e-commerce, you'd make them hundreds of times whatever they spent on you. Now, I landed myself on one such job in 2008, and to say that I'd landed on my feet would be an understatement, but I earned my keep. I was very good at my job, but only because of how deeply it fascinated me, and long before 2008, I'd been reading about something which had passed from scientific theory to urban legend. You might know it as the deep web. Now, the deep web is a very different concept to the dark web, even though the two terms are kind of used interchangeably. The concept of the deep web has been around ever since the internet was invented, as in no different than the concept of public and private property. There's nothing inherently sinister about setting up some private website, but it was also inevitable that certain people would use it for illicit means, and frankly, it's amazing that it took until the late 2000s for that to finally happen. And that's when the term dark web was coined, to describe these sinister sites that traded in highly illegal merchandise and in some cases, even murder. And as you can imagine, the prospect fascinated me. And so off I went looking for them, and that's when I found the Silk Road. It was a fitting name, really, harking back to the 2nd century Pan-Asian trade route which brought spices and fine china to Europe. But this was anything but state-sanctioned. Set up by an American and launched in, I think it was 2011, the Silk Road didn't just sell drugs, it sold everything. But under that everything umbrella was a hell of a lot of drugs, guns, and other contraband like handheld hacking devices, banned media, or Asian-made sweets that were banned from US markets. Now, you could count the list of rules on one hand, and almost everything functioned on an honor-based system, which turned my idea of drug dealing on its head. I'd always just assumed it was all about low purity, stepped-up products, and ripping people off at every turn. But the Silk Road was the polar opposite. It allowed wholesalers, and in some cases even manufacturers, to market their high-purity products at rock-bottom prices, mainly because they were cutting out the oh-so-expensive middlemen, and it was making people a hell of a lot of money. I visited the Silk Road every day for about 2 weeks before my curiosity evolved into something that I know now was greed, but at the time felt like opportunity. I made decent money, and I loved my job, but I was also lacking excitement in my life, and I was still young and stupid enough to really crave it. It also constituted a whole new system for me to obsess over, and by system, I mean the method by which drugs travel from their manufacturers to their consumers. I did enough research on shipping and pricing to ensure that I had at least a cursory knowledge of what I needed to do. And so one day in early 2012, I pulled the trigger on my little plan and ordered half a kilo of heroin for what amounted to 10 grand in cryptocurrency. Silk Road actually had seller reviews and a whole other seller reliability rating, and so I was easily able to find a highly rated heroin dealer who promised to hide my product in a small appliance of some kind before shipping it over. Now, a part of me didn't really believe it'd arrive. Didn't believe it'd arrive. It'd. Ever read this story before? I don't think so. I've definitely read some dark web stuff, and there's probably some crossover. Joel's really cooking. I was cooking there, yeah, wasn't that crazy? I was in my flow state. I'm flowing out my ass. I wanted a lot of piercings, but I hate getting stabbed for real with a needle. Yeah, I think you better just stand as God intended you. Pierceless. A pierceless society. Part of me didn't really believe it would arrive, even though I knew the site was heavily policed in terms of fake reviews and scam sellers. And so when the package arrived, delivered by Royal Mail no less, my heart was thumping as I opened it up and disassembled what turned out to be a computer monitor. Now there it was, packed tightly in clear plastic baggies, half a kilo of pure golden brown Afghan heroin, enough to land me in prison from anywhere from 12 to 16 years. And after that, I had to find a buyer. And while you might assume that was a relatively difficult process, it was not. I went into town on a Friday night, walked up to the first beggar I saw, and then told him that I'd give him a tenner if he showed me where to buy heroin. And that was all it took. He walked me to a phone, called a phone number after I handed him some change, and then about 15 minutes later, this teenage boy rode up on his bike and this beggar bought a bag of what he called brown from him. And that's when I stepped in and told the young lad on the bike that I wanted to talk to his boss. It was dark out, but I could still see the skeptical look that he gave me. But after a little exposition, he relented and asked for my phone number and then rode off, saying that he'd pass it off to his boss. And not even 2 hours had elapsed before I got a call back and was making the half-hour walk in the dark. Oops. I'm pretty sure the creator of Silk Road is from Pennsylvania. My home state. Oh, I'm completely wrong. The creator of Silk Road, Ross William Ulbricht, is from Austin, Texas. Okay, cancel that. You guys are all from Pennsylvania. What are your thoughts on Millie Bobby Brown? Let's see, which one's that again? That's from Stranger Things, right? Millie Bobby Brown. You know, she seems like a nice girl, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really watch Stranger Things. I watched season 1, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? I'm sure she's having a good, as long as she's having fun. Am I attracted to her? Let's see. Let's look at the pics. Bring up this. Let's turn off the orange. Let's do an assessment. Yeah, she's pretty. All right, there you go. That's the review. Human review, hot or not? Millie Bobby Brown, pretty. Respect Wyman. What are your thoughts on Bobby Brown? Are they related? They're probably related. But Bodie Brown. Bobby Brown. Also pretty. Equally, if not more so. How about Vecna? Who the hell's Vecna? That sounds like a Mortal Kombat character. Vecna. Oh my god, it is a fucking Mortal Kombat character. A powerful lich-like villain from Dungeons & Dragons and the primary antagonist in Stranger Things. Okay, that does make more sense. Now Vecna can get it. Vecna can take me into her demonic realms and show me the dark side. This guy with the 2, stay cool, cat. Thank you, friend. Good to see you, bro. Thank you so much. What do I think of Madison Beer? Oh my gosh, who are these people? They're just like inventing celebrities off a conveyor belt at this point. Madison Beer. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, I thought it was the girl from The Substance. I really like the girl from The Substance. She's beautiful. Well, both of them. Both of the older version and the younger version. They're freaking gorgeous. Henry Cavill. All right. Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande could really stand losing a few pounds, don't you guys think? JK. Not even 2 hours, but that's why I got a call back. I was making half the. Not even 2 hours had elapsed before I got a call back and was making the half-hour walk to the dark, deserted. The dark desert. Ariana's pretty. Yeah, Ariana is pretty. I just something's going on. Am I the only one that thinks something's fucking going on? Like, what's going on? Like, let's just go through the history a little bit. She worked as a kid at Disney, right? Disney. No, not Disney. Nickelodeon. With fucking, what's his name? The big fat creepazoid. What was the big fat guy? Dan Schneider, right? With all the accusations. I mean, allegedly. Whatever. I don't fucking know. Yeah, and all the feet shit. Dude, I've never seen her show, the Inglorious or whatever the fuck it was called. I had never seen it. And then I was watching it with my buddy and his daughters, and they liked the show, and we watched it. It was the first fucking episode that I'd ever seen. And there was immediately a foot reference. She kicked her shoe or threw it out, from a dumpster or something like that. And then a creepy ass homeless guy walks up behind her and is like, "Can I have this?" And it's not the first episode of the show, but it was the first one I'd seen, so it was a random episode. Literally just like picked at random. And it was a weird homeless guy picks up like, "Can I have this?" And she's like, "Sure. Her voice sounds like this in every episode. And it makes you want to fucking take a hammer to your own head." But then the dude comes up, he's like, "Can I have your stinky sneaker?" And she's like, "Sure." And then he just like immediately takes it and is like, "Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God, I got a big boner." And he runs off to go jerk off into his shoe. And immediately I already knew about the stuff. I was like, "What? This is the vault." I was like, "That's creepy as shit. We're not watching this show anymore." So, anyways, taking all of that into consideration with like Ariana Grande's like history and experience within what we already presume is kind of a creepy side of Hollywood, if not all of it's very weird. But I am led to believe, based on whatever the fuck is going on the set of Wicked, that all of them are like some weird MK Ultra experiment, or they're all like, I don't even know, like going through some type of strange like altered reality, split personality. Maybe it's from the trauma. I don't fucking know, bro, but something's fucking going on. And, there's a lot of like abstract existential symbolism that exists within the world of like Wizard of Oz, right? Follow the yellow brick road, fucking, which is the path that they lay out for you or whatever. And like, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain who runs the show or whatever, that's just all that kind of stuff. So there's a degree of preponderance about what is happening on the set of Wicked and what is happening to her. Even if it really just comes down to like an eating disorder, that's still fucked, Or a cocaine addiction, or an Ozempic abuse of, I don't fucking know. Either way, I ain't fucking watching a musical, goddammit. What do I think of Esther Exposito? Alright, Exposito. She is pretty. Every celebrity you send me, you gotta see, you can't just send me every hot person in the world. Like, what am I supposed to say? They are celebrities for a fucking reason. She's your celeb crush. Okay, nice. She is Despacito. I do feel bad for her. She's losing weight while being underweight. I don't know, man. We're gonna get it. We're gonna bulk her up. We're gonna get her ready for a bodybuilding show. They did get Judy Garland hooked on stimulants during The Wizard of Oz. Oh my God, you're fucking right. They like abused the shit out of Judy Garland. Her mother, I think, like sold her to the fucking studio. Like gave them like, because I think she was underage at the time, and they had like complete fucking control over her entire existence. Kept her like severely underfed, and who knows to what extent of like abuse as well. That's showbiz, baby. Destroying someone's inner psyche. I don't know, man. Something's fucking going on, and I don't like it. But even creepier though, the fact that when was the original Wizard of Oz? Back in the fucking 20s or some shit. And the fact that they're just like, oh, wait a second. Wizard of Oz creation. I don't know why I even typed that in. Oh, 1939. At first I was like, dude, if it was 1925 and we were getting like 100 years later the exact parallel narrative occurring, you know, both with the actors and all that kind of stuff, it was in 1776, you know, that would be some type of like Freemason level, you know, creepery going on. IDK. I can't keep up with these weirdos. Shirley Temple. Yeah, I don't know much about Shirley. The original book is about American economy, and her shoes were silver instead of ruby. Yeah, what's the significance of like ruby red? They used asbestos to snow in The Wizard of Oz. Damn, everybody died of cancer. Not even 2 hours had elapsed before I got a call back and was making the half-hour walk to the... I'm sorry, guys. The Red Shoe Club, what's that about? Is that like some type of weird Stanley Kubrick shit? I do a biography of her in 6th grade. Could have sworn, but she was Liz Minnelli's mom and they both got ill from entertainment. Not even 2 hours had elapsed before I got a call back and was making the half-hour walk to the dark, deserted street that I'd been told to wait on. And this is when I did something crucial and put on a ski mask. I made sure to keep myself out of sight, but that meant when a trio of what looked like hooded teenagers showed up, I almost scared the living daylights out of them when I'd stepped out to greet them. And once we'd confirmed that I was friendly, they told me to show them what I had, and since I had the good mind to bring a very small sample with me, I was only too willing to hand it over. Now they were still looking at me a bit funny since I was wearing that ski mask, but one of them, this poorly looking lad who turned out to be older than the rest, dabbed a bit out onto his fist. He's snorting heroin? Don't you die if you do that? High-level movie execs would take her into the offices and didn't allow her mom to go with her. Shirley never wanted to say what happened. Damn. That's sad, man. Can you line up Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon to Wicked 2? That's a good question, honestly. Wonder if there is something related to that. I'm sure someone's probably do some art deco with that, some indie film. Maybe you could be the first. Rocker Red, what's up, dude? How you been? Rocker Red, thanks for... You've been listening for like... I mean, literally, I think since my channel existed, you've been... I think listening to my channel, which is like wild. What's up, Nerdy Bread Roll? How we doing? There's like some names I recognize from like going all the way back to flipping many moons ago. Joel's favorite word, honestly. I'm keep staying honest, you know. I like to believe that everyone here is a good person. Thanks, Dead Bear, appreciate you. We are all terribly, terribly evil, though, unfortunately. It knocked him onto his... What was it? The product was pure... Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. They were still looking at me a bit funny since I was wearing the mask, but one of them, this poorly looking lad who turned out to be older than the rest, dabbed a bit out onto his fist and then snorted it. I knew the product was pure, and therefore potent, but I wasn't ready for the effect it'd have on the user. It knocked him out on his feet. He couldn't talk, he couldn't keep his head raised, and he just sort of swayed on his feet while the other two boys just held back their laughter. Now they too seemed impressed with what I had, and then, after the old cliched question of, "You're not the police, are you?" they led me to the top floor of a block of flats to what you Americans would call the Trap. And this is where I first met Steven. He made a really big deal out of the ski mask, aggressively at first, but then much more jovially as we got talking. He didn't like that I was wearing it, and then he suddenly did like what I was... He didn't like that I was wearing it, and then suddenly did like that I was wearing it. It made me a character, as he put it. There were more movie cliches when he and his boys had pat me down for a wire, and I was tempted to inform him that audio bugs were so small and reliable that I'd have one hidden in one of the buttons of my jacket, but I didn't. And after that we got talking, and thanks to the sample, I didn't need much to... And after that we got talking, and thanks to the sample, I didn't need to do much of it. The product spoke for itself thanks to the zombified junkie who had to be herded back to the flat. Steven had a lot of questions, and I tried to answer as few of them as possible. I just simply told him that I had a lucrative business opportunity, and we could both get very rich off of it. And as you can imagine, this was music to his ears. He had his own bosses he needed to keep sweet, and the best way of doing that was making more money for them. And all he had to do was work with me, agree to my terms, and I'd get him the quality product that he needed to get an edge on the competition at a price he couldn't find anywhere else. And that's how things started, and while things were a little bit shaky at first in terms of hands-off and keeping my identity... Damn it, sometimes I just be blending motherfucking words together. Keeping my identity. Products speak? Good question. If it's a Furby, then yes. If it's heroin stuffed inside of a Furby, then double yes. What was that? Was that a docking ship? Boop, boop, boop. Lion Studios, what's up, bro? Just about to sip some Diet Sprite. One of your favorite topics? Let's go. That's interesting. It seems like YouTube sends people to the streams in like kind of batches. I mean, obviously, yes, but I just find it interesting when there's like a sudden little bump in like random people. But hello, and welcome. We're reading some dark web stories. That's how things started. And while things were a little bit shaky at first in terms of handoffs and keeping my identity a secret, I soon found a rhythm. I'd meet Steven's couriers in varied but local locations, ensuring my face was covered in ways that preferably didn't attract attention. A scarf and sunglasses in the wintertime, for example, where I could just pull it up over my face nice and quickly. But whenever I met with Steven face to not face, as it were, I wore the ski mask and sunglasses and never drove over in my car. Half kilos soon became kilos, but the most I ever sold at one time was 2 kilos. The most increasing variable after that was the frequency I would obtain packages. Because while the Silk Road was somewhat reliable, it wasn't foolproof. Not all poppy harvests yield the same quality product, so profit margins varied, and occasionally a trustworthy purveyor of quality goods would simply drop off the map for a while or nuke their account entirely. Delivering the packages to Steven's couriers was also pretty nerve-wracking, and walking around with kilos of heroin on my person never got old. It was always terrifying. Always. But my God, did it make me a lot of money. I was paid in cash, bundles of it too, half of which I deposited in a very dodgy credit union run by 2 Bangladeshi blokes who took 10% for the privilege of washing my dosh, so to speak. Now the rest I spent on daily essentials, petrol, food shops, takeaways, stuff that doesn't raise any eyebrows when you pay with crisp 50-pound notes. And this went on for more than 2 years. Silk Road was shut down at one point, and its founder was arrested, but a replacement was set up in no time at all, so I was able to continue my dealings with Steven after only the briefest of interruptions. But then came the day when I was almost caught, or at least that's what it felt like, because the patchage. Hey Taryn, take care, good to see you. How much did you miss? Not too much, about 2 hours. is this a third story? This is the second story. But then came the day when I was almost caught, or at least that's what it felt like, because the package containing 2 kilos was just feet away from my front door when a police officer called at my flat to ask about a recent spate of burglaries. Now, it was still hidden away in its containers, the cavity of a rice cooker, so even if the officer came in and looked around, they wouldn't have suspected a thing. But paranoia is a hell of a drug, and that marked the first time that I began to consider giving it all up. I'd made a mind-boggling amount of money for such a small amount of overall work. Not quite £1 million, but close enough to feel like it. And once I had everything washed, I had enough to buy a house, enough to fritter away, and enough to squirrel away for the inevitable rainy days. And so I decided to quit while I was ahead. Now, I sold a few more packages to Stephen, even to put together some money to celebrate with once I'd made a clean break from the business. And then one day, I gave him a call to let him know that I was getting out. And I suppose it shows how utterly naive I still was that I thought that he'd be happy for me. We weren't friends, but we were fairly close. You can't not be if you're making so much money together. How many stories left? We got 2 after this one. Good morning from the UK. Good day. Good day. Why is it not yapping in the chat today? I don't know. I was thinking about putting like recording stories, but then I was like, well, I don't know. Reading seems less confusing. And then, I don't know, for some reason, just to clarify for anybody who's ever new to the chat, you can just look at the title of the video and get exactly what is to be expected. What's new in the UK? Anything cool? Was there a man found with a ninja sword? There was a ninja in the streets. Truly terrifying. Good morning from Mexico. Hey, oh, I'm on blue. You liar. Gabe P, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Gabe. And Natalie Crystal, welcome back for 3 months. I'm late. Right now, just imagine me as a big white rabbit with a overcoat that's blue. I'm holding a massive pocket watch. I'm tapping on it. I'm poking on it. I'm saying, time's running out. You can't not be if you're making so much money together. I think he wouldn't be over the moon about losing such a valuable asset, but I didn't think he'd get angry, and I certainly didn't think that he'd start threatening me. It turns out he did both. I called him, told him I was getting out, and at first, I could tell that he was nonplussed because of how quiet he went. Stephen was a talker, probably not the most ideal trait in a drug dealer, but that was just his way. So as I explained my plan to get out, and I didn't hear so much as a or an okay, I knew that he wasn't taking it well. But things got so much worse. Stephen was not accepting my resignation, and in a strange parody of a legitimate business, insisted I work a notice period before finally departing. Now, I offered to teach him about crypto and how to use the Silk Road, but Stephen was having none of it. He told me he had no obligations to people, and that he couldn't downsize without first getting the right liquidity. Stephen would often incorrectly use business terms that he didn't understand, but his point was clear. Without me, he wouldn't make as much money, and he didn't fancy that one bit. Now, before long, Stephen was straight up threatening me. Myself, my family, my friends, anything that sprang to mind. But if there's one thing that I stayed consistent with, it was keeping my identity a secret to the point that my only identifying features were the clothes that I wore to meetings, which were outfits that I never wore anywhere else, and my voice. So unless Stephen had some piece of miracle technology which would hunt me down using the sound of my voice alone, he wouldn't know where to find me. And so with that in mind, I did what very few people have done throughout history, and I hung up on an angry gangster. I'm not going to pretend that I was Mr. Cool about it. It made for a terrifying experience, And once my nerves had settled and I could think clear and straight again, I realized that I had absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Me and Steven didn't mix in the same circles, we didn't live in the same areas of the city, and I'd never seen him during daylight hours either, so I'm pretty sure that we even kept different sleep schedules. I wasn't worried about bumping into him or any of his other little cronies anywhere, and even if I did, all I had to do was keep my mouth shut and they wouldn't realize it was me. And as far as I know, I'd gotten away with illegally making hundreds of thousands of pounds completely scot-free. And bloody hell, did that feel good. After 6 months or so, how would, if you were a drug dealer, would you never send someone to follow the bloke? You know what I mean? Oh shoot, Natalie, Crystal, thank you for the 5 gifters. So I missed that there too. L. Marks, Sam Burger with Cheese, Haley Smith, Mary Callan Weath, and Josh Falcon Punch. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, guys. What up, Joel? Hello, El Reed fam. What's up, dude? How we doing, Jesse? What's poppin'? Wait, what happened that you had to stay 2 meters apart? It happened everywhere. I loved your bad neighbor stories. Wait, did I miss something? Maybe it came after. Oh, do Americans like us Brits or not? I do, yeah. Sometimes I think the Brits, fancy themselves a little smarter than the average American, but, we might not always have a way with words, us Yanks, but it doesn't mean we're dumb. Us Yankers. Us Gooners. But I do love the UK. I love people from the UK. I think they're nice. I think they're really polite, which is fun. Even whenever they're being really mean, they seem like they're polite about it. Some of their arguments with each other are some of the most well-articulated things I'd ever heard, just to call someone old. Haven't you ever thought about the fact that you're getting on a bit in age, and you probably shouldn't be saying those kinds of things to a young adolescent girl? Oi! What do you mean getting on at old age? Are you age phobic? Are you discriminating against me because of the fact that my balls are sagging down at the bottom of me britches? It's really not like that at all, I promise. I don't think we would be good partners together. We have nothing in common. Oh, suppose you make a good point. It's a curse, really. I can't get rid of the fucking horny. Every time I look at a lass, my fucking pecker gets all wet and wily. That's really understandable. Truly it is. It's human biology, really. That it is. You have a good one now, okay? You too. And those were sworn enemies that just spoke to each other. An old man and a young hot bitch. But somehow they made it work. And they were Australian too. After 6 months or so of lying low and not spending too much, in which time the Silk Road got shut down for good, I decided to make my very first luxury purchase from a Bentley dealership. Alright, wait. They were South African. South African, Australian, the UK. What's the fucking difference, mate? Just kidding. Hey, lovely T, how you doing? As far as I knew, I'd gotten away with illegally making hundreds of thousands of pounds completely scot-free. And bloody hell, did that feel good. After 6 months or so of lying low and not spending too much, in which time the Silk Road got shut down for good, I decided to make my very first luxury purchase from a Bentley. Motherfuck. My very first luxury purchase. If Joel started a spicy story reading channel, he'd be a millionaire. I don't know, I thought about it. It's like if you started an OnlyFans, right, where you read spicy stuff, how would anyone find that? What story we're on? This is story 2 of 4. But we're definitely probably over halfway. Joel, you woke me up last stream. Never thought you'd play Troy by P. Yeah, I do feel bad when going into the music. It disturbs the sleep. But that's what got the video blocked in America, was the usage of music. Oh, it's not taken down. It's like if you VPN'd it, you could watch the stream in like the UK or Canada or something, but for some reason in the US and other regions it's like blocked. After 6 months or so of lying low and not spending too much, in which time the Silk Road got shut down for good, I decided to make my very first luxury purchase from a Bentley dealership. It was a used Bentley, so considerably less expensive than a brand new one, but Bentley's pre-owned program is probably the best on the market, so you end up with a car that is as next to brand new as it's possible to get. I visited the dealership once or twice before, mostly just driving past to admire the display models. But once I was in the clear money-wise, I started talking to the salespeople to get an idea of pricing and availability. It took a couple of visits to nail down the model I wanted. The salesman saw a chance to flog something a bit more expensive to someone young and flashy, but I was after something a little more discreet. Those sorts of models tended not to be entered into the pre-owned system, so I had to wait about 6 weeks before one became available. But when one did, I zoomed over to the dealership and put down the deposit that secured the car as mine. And it felt like a victory parade, and I was happy as a pig in crap as I sat with the salesman signing papers and swapping cheerful banter. Now, the whole process lasted about 45 minutes, and in that time, the dealership was Oh, fuck me. Oi. Oi. Okay. You want to visit Switzerland? You should just do it. What if you're on your Oh, I almost spilled my soda. That was almost a national tragedy. Okay. You want to visit CERN? That would be kind of... that would be like a good story. Like you're in one of those like French or Swedish towns or whatever the fuck that are on like the center of CERN. And for some reason there's just like an uptick of like paranormal activity in that area specifically. Join Book Talk and read all the spice. The ladies would love that. Book Talk. Oh, like you would have to almost do like promos on there or something like that. Yeah, they make me dance the songs. It felt like a victory parade, and I was happy as a pig in crap as I sat with the salesman signing papers and swapping cheerful banter. The whole process lasted about 45 minutes, and in that time, the dealership was visited by 2 men who wandered around the display models and then spokes with the sales... Spokes. Son of a fucking bitch! Son of a fucking bitch! I gotta pee really bad after this, guys. Remind me to go pee, so I don't piss my pampers. The whole process lasted about 45 minutes, and in that time, the dealership was visited by 2 men who wandered around the display models and then spoke with a saleswoman. I didn't pay any attention to them. I was far too focused on feeling smug and ogling the pictures of my refurbished Bentley. And then when the final papers were signed and I was given a date to pick up the car, I shook the salesman's hand, thanked him for all his time, and then rose from my chair and headed for the showroom's exit. But as I did, I noticed one of the two men looking at me. But not just looking, staring while standing statue still about 10 feet away. Maybe it's having a... Oi, welcome to London, mate. Where things don't come cheap, and cheap don't come. Maybe it's having grown up in London, but I didn't immediately return the man's stare. I just thought, what the hell are you looking at, while trying not to provoke a confrontation. Now that might sound a bit extreme to some of you, but as I said, London might be one of the oldest penises in the world. The oldest penis in the world. It looks like a battered great white shark with scars and bite marks. Don't want to suffer from incontinence, old age, go pay. Just from sharding. That might sound a bit extreme to some of you, but as I said, London might be one of the oldest cities in the world, but it's not the friendliest. That meant that it wasn't until I was within feet of the door that I shot the man a look, and when I did, my blood turned to ice. It was not some random toff stopping in to buy a brand new Bentley. In fact, it was the one person in the world that I didn't want it to be. It was Stephen. He was wearing a suit and tie, which is partly why he didn't grab my attention when I saw him in my peripheral vision, and he was staring at me like I'd just grown a second head. Now, I was right about to say something like, "Can I help you?" but I cut myself off and tried my very best to keep a neutral look on my face as I turned it away from him. But no sooner had I done that, he asked me, "Do I know you?" Stephen had been listening to me speak to the salesman for about 15 to 20 minutes, so I'm amazed that he hadn't had the realization earlier. But I knew what a precarious position I was in there, so I just stared back at him and simply shook my head before continuing on my way. My heart felt like it was trying to burst out of my chest by the time that I was out the doors, and I had to summon. This actually does kind of sound like a fucking, I don't even know, episode of Breaking Bad or some shit, you know? And then I wore the mask, and I didn't take that fucking mask off no matter what. I kept me glasses on, and I made sure that he didn't follow to me crib. Wasn't catching me, no way, no how. I played it clean, right? Real clean. But that fucking tosser knew. He knew. You could see by the look on his face. Real curious like. But as I started my engine and drove out of the dealership, I saw Stephen standing just outside the doors with his phone in my hand. Phone in my hand. Standing just out with the... in his hand. Oh wait. My heart felt like it was trying to burst out of my chest by the time... God damn it. Sea money, oh yeah, like maybe some snacks and chocolate. Who doesn't like snacks? What? What kind of snacks are we talking here? Gender-neutral snacks. It's a good... yeah, you like this one, tea time? Do you think it should start? Go pee. No, the pee is helping me stay focused. But as I started my engine and drove out of the dealership, I saw Stephen standing just outside the doors with his phone in his hand. Oh wait, fuck me. I was... keep forgetting the previous paragraph. My heart felt like it was trying to burst out of my chest by the time I was out the doors, and I had to summon every ounce of bravery I had not to sprint to my car and drive off doing 100. But as I started my engine and drove out of the dealership, I saw Stephen standing just outside the doors with his phone in his hand, quite clearly taking pictures or video as I was driving off. And as I drove, it felt like my heart was going into palpitations or I was having a panic attack or something. My vision started getting very gray around the edges, and I was taking shallower and shallower breaths. As much as I was scared I might crash my car, I knew I couldn't stop because Stephen might just be a few cars behind me. I didn't drive home. I was going to, but then realized how stupid that was given what had just happened, and turned to drive in the opposite direction. I ended up clocking maybe 5 or 6 miles before I turned into the car park of an apartment building and turned off my engine. And that was the first real chance that I had to stop and think, which felt like a relief at first because at least I was going to lose concentration. Hey, Christy, what's up? Hi, everyone. I'm home from a successful trip to Arizona. I got to meet my fellow cohort and truly love them all. ASU is such a beautiful campus. Nice, dude. Congratulations. Hopefully the travel wasn't too bad. What's up, Green Bee? Well, who was the cohort again? Was it, you said it was for school? School. Has anyone tried the Grinch box at McDonald's? I don't think so. Is it just another, like, everything's fucking green? We need these kids to do more viral TikTok dances with the green shit. This time we really want them to throw up. That was the first real chance I had to stop and think, which felt like a relief at first because at least I was... Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Okay. I ended up clocking maybe 5 or 6 miles before I turned into the car park of an apartment building and turned off my engine. That was the first real chance I had to stop and think, which felt like a relief at first because at least I wasn't going to lose concentration and crash my car. But it turned out to be anything but, because stopping only because stopping only allowed the crushing reality of the situation to set in. Stephen had recognized me, and there was no doubt about that. Enough that he wanted to record of... Hey Erica, what's up? Enough that he wanted a record. Oh my god, I gotta piss. So I'm gonna take a big old piss. Yeah. Okay. Lock in. Don't piss your pants. Don't piss your pants on the YouTube live stream. You're never gonna live it down. You're never gonna live it down. Stephen had recognized me. There was no doubt, motherfucker, no bout of doubt. I'm gonna fucking die. Stephen had recognized me. There was no doubt about that. Enough that he wanted a record of my number plate so he could no doubt follow up on a strongly held suspicion. And when he did, when the man who'd vowed to kill me finally found me, he'd probably do things that'd make me want to die before he eventually ended me entirely. And as I contemplated that, the hazy vision panic returned and I found myself struggling to breathe. It took a minute, but I managed to calm myself enough that I could think straight, and then as I did so, the solution came to me clear as day, but it was an unthinkable one. The first part, and possibly the easiest, was abandoning my car in that car park, and the next was calling my girlfriend to tell her that she had to go and stay with her mom. She could tell something was wrong just from the sound of my voice, and I promised I'd explain everything face to face as soon as I could. But in the meantime, she had to leave the flat that we shared as quickly as possible and never return to it. Now, it took me hours to walk home, so I had plenty of time to try and reason with her, but in the end, she did as I asked. And then when I got myself... Piss is stored in the front glute. Then, when I myself got home, I packed up all the essentials, including the bricks of cash that I kept hidden away, and then took a taxi to a friend's house and asked if I could stay with him for a few days. I ended up borrowing his car to drive over to my girlfriend's mom's place, and after sitting her down in private in an upstairs bedroom, I told her everything. She had no idea that I'd been trafficking heroin. She thought that I was repairing all the appliances that I was being sent and then returning them to their owners. My excuse for the Bentley was that I'd been saving it for... since I was 16. And since I had an okay salary and was good with money, she bought the excuse without asking any questions. I had this naive idea that she'd stay with me and accept my invitation to move to another city with me, but she didn't. In fact, she broke up with me there and then and said that she never wanted to hear from me ever again. Dealing drugs was one thing, but putting us in danger was another. And if it was only a matter of time before they found me through my car's registration, then she said I needed to leave right that instant. And that was the last time me and her spoke. Then the next day, after buying my mate's car from him for an eye-watering amount of cash, I drove up north, never to return to London. It broke my heart to do it. My parents didn't understand why I was leaving, and since I couldn't bring myself to tell them the truth, I made up a lie about finding a better job in the Northwest. They don't question why I never come to visit, and I'm always insisting that they come to visit me, but I think they suspect something by now. Maybe one day I'll tell them about the stupid, arrogant mistake I made and how it was that which destroyed my relationships and forced me into exile. I ended up selling that Bentley too, by the way, and I had it delivered to Manchester, and it was somewhat of a comfort at first, but it quickly became an enduring reminder of my own greed, as well as the pure devastation that the deep web had caused. So this guy went from working in IT to selling drugs. What are my thoughts on men's volleyball? It's pretty cool, I guess. Pretty intense stuff, I guess. I don't really watch it, but I mean, it seems like... I don't know. Alright, let me go take a fucking piss. I'll be right back.
Maybe to be more hospitable, we should start just shitting all over the floor too. I'm serious. Just walk into McDonald's, walk up, and just start dumping right in front of the cash register. And oh, you'd be arrested though, because you know better. Maybe to be.
Alright guys, I took a piss.
Exciting news, everyone. Exciting news. Took a big fucking piss and didn't even get any of the dribble in my diaper.
I'm hopefully going to get my YouTube channel up and running while I'm on Christmas break. As long as the sinus infection clears up, I shall share it when it's ready. It's called Dark Obscura. Nice. What are you gonna do?
Spooky stuff.
Spooker shit. It's called spooker shit. It's called the spookiest shit you've ever smelled. Did I cut my poo? Did you cut your poo in half with your pee? Yeah, it's like sometimes you take a shit and you stand up and then you just cut your shit in half like a high-pressured stream of water. What am I even saying? I don't fucking know. You guys are disgusting. What the fuck? Is that a thing?
Yeah, every guy does it. Every guy gets up after they poop and they use their urine like a fucking high-powered pressure washer and just rip their shit apart. It's really disgusting and it sprays fecal matter everywhere, but it's tradition. It's tradition.
Wish a man would take you out on a date. Yeah, where do you want to go? Don't wash my hands after I take a number 2. I take a shower, bro, after I shit. Every shit, I just declothe and jump into my delousing chamber. There used to, dude, I was so jealous when I was like younger. I would play The Sims. This was Sims 1, and dude, like one of the most upgraded showers in your house you could get was like this future one that like made you levitate and just fucking clean the shit out of your sim character. But it was so fast, and I was just in my, as a kid, I just so badly wanted that to be the future of showers. For some reason as a kid, I just thought that showers were going to like take a sudden leap forward. You know, it's like humans had been using horses forever, and then suddenly they just figured out, you know, Formula One cars. And I just kind of assumed that would happen with showers in some weird way. Showers in Japan are futuristic? Yeah, what's theirs? I really feel like shower technology is very behind. Nothing worse than after the shower you suddenly have to shit, gotta turn around, go right back in, yeah, and shit in the shower. I sound like Ed Helms. Thanks, dude. I love Ed. Wonder how he's doing. I haven't seen Ed Helms in anything since, like, ever. Ed Helms. He was in the Lorax. I did not know that, but that was, like, 2012. Ed Helms. Dickography. The number of pornos he's been in. Let's see. How do you find someone's... political views. Oh, my God. He's crazy. Whatever. Okay. My name is Max. And I grew up in Germany, and for as long as I have lived, I have tried to live a good life. I obeyed my mother and father, and I worked hard in school and university, and then I ambitiously and meticulously prepared myself for a career at one of Germany's most elite manufacturing companies. I was ambitious, aggressively so, and I can't deny that, but I was never arrogant and always remained ethical and humble in all my dealings with others.
I donated a portion of my salary to charity and even a portion of my time to a local deaf charity. While I admit to doing this to bolster my own self of, well, they made this pod to wash your entire body in one go. You just lay down and let it go. Yeah, but I feel like if you have like a certain, the nerd dog, I feel like if you have a certain like routine for your washings, like shit for your face and shit for your balls and shit for your asshole and yada yada yada, I feel like whatever thing is just like going over you with like Dove hand soap that was like previously used on the other person's like butthole, it wouldn't do the trick. Yeah, you know, honestly, you could just put me through a car wash for humans. That's fine. That's fine. If that's what Klaus Schwab wants, that's what Klaus Schwab gets. I donated a portion of my salary to charity and even a portion of my time to a local deaf charity. And while I admit to doing this to bolster my own self of well-being, that came part and parcel with living a life of good works and community service. But it was still not enough to keep me out of trouble. And by the age of 32, in 2010, I hadn't been involved in any sort of violent altercation since a schoolyard shoving match during a game of football. And I lived a simple, happy life, having married in 2008, and by 2010, we had decided to start trying for a baby. It was a happy and exciting period of my life, probably the happiest and most exciting Mr. Ballin collab? Yeah, I'll consider it. Communal showers are the future of balls flying everywhere. Yeah. Real naked like. Wait, what is a heart ablation? What is that again? Ablation. It is procedure used to stop abnormal electrical signals in the heart that causes arrhythmias. Your heart's rhythm is controlled by electrical circuits. When parts of the circuit misfires, you get AFib, atrial fibrillation, SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, atrial flutter, PVCs, VT in some cases. Ablation destroys or scars the tiny area causing the misfire, so the signal can't repeat or loop. Because I think I saw that Mr. Ballin had to have a heart ablation, which was sad to hear. Not sad, but just I'm glad he's doing good. It's just, you know, you get worried about that kind of stuff. It's obviously pretty serious. I briefly dated a guy that had a Temu version of a bidet. It was a Temu, but that's pretty funny. Just like a shitty one. He's like, you can use it to wash out your mouth too. Did I perform it? No, I was not invited. It was a happy and exciting period of my life. It was a happy and exciting period in my life, probably the happiest and most exciting I'd ever known, but it was exhausting too. I'm not trying to make a crude joke, I just simply mean that my wife and I began planning like crazy, picking out design plans and furniture for our upcoming nursery. Now, it was a lot to think about, and I ended up losing more than a few hours of sleep over it. But it wasn't just the prospect of becoming a first-time father that was keeping me up, because I'd also put my name in for a promotion at work. A position had opened up following the resignation. A position had opened up following the resignation of a colleague. It was essentially an assistant director's role for my division of the office, so while I wouldn't be in charge, I'd have dominion over my former coworkers. And almost everyone put their name forward for the role, and I was open with my colleagues about doing the same. Everyone wished each other luck, and I believed everyone had the attitude of let the best man win. But as I came to learn, that was not entirely the case. I remember the day that a colleague in another department gave me the good news. We had all interviewed for the position, but management had not yet decided who the best candidate had been, and so we were all still waiting to hear back from them when an old friend of mine pulled me aside. He was dating one of the bigwig secretaries, this girl named Clara, who had access to the executive lounge, and it was there that she had heard a member of management explaining how strongly I'd interviewed and how I'd entered a final pool of just 4 potential candidates. And as you can imagine, this was fantastic news which made me very happy, and I rode that wave of excitement all day long. But when it came time to finish work and head home, I remember feeling the exhaustion starting to get to me. By the time I climbed into my car seat and slid the keys into the ignition, I actually considered napping for a little bit of an hour so I had the energy to drive home, but I decided against it. And then and only then did I fasten my seatbelt and check my rear view to see if anyone was behind me, and if I'd chosen to do so, Let's read. I was hoping you were alive. I'm trying to find your ambient music on YouTube because I'm doing homework and I want to listen to it while doing, homework. If you could, please tell me. Yeah, so if you type in INEKT, Inect is my guy who does my ambient music for the, everything. INEKT, Inect, and you should find some of his dark ambient stuff in there. No worries, buddy. Good luck with homeworkington. He thought these were supposed to be happy, wholesome stories from the dark web. I know. Nobody ever seems to have a good time on that. Well, maybe some. Wait, so Justin got back from Japan and then Pat went right to Japan as well? That seems kind of crazy. What the fuck is going on? What's going on in Japan? Godzilla? Godzilla! Yeah, I really do. I mean, Japan is like 100 million% on my list of shit. I went to Japan last year, not this year. Oh, okay. And yeah, where did you go and what was your favorite thing? Then, and only then, did I fasten my seatbelt and check my rear view to see if anyone was behind me. And if I'd chosen to do when he's so late, motherfucker. Yeah, everyone in the stream gets to go to Japan. At the top of Mount Fuji. And if I'd chosen to do so any later, I might presently be dead. Because when I looked up, occupying one portion of my rear view was a masked man. I believed him to be a car thief or a carjacker, I suppose you might say, so I quickly locked my doors and turned on my engine, intent on driving away. And yet the moment I turned the key, I heard the first shot. My windshield shattered along with the back windows and I instinctively lowered myself down in my seat. If I hadn't, I'd be dead right now, as a police officer told me one of the bullets traveled directly through the headrest where my skull had just been moments before. Now, I was able to drive quite easily, but I was so panicked that I almost crashed into the adjacent row of cars as I turned out of the parking space and into the open corridor. I don't know exactly when the gunman stopped shooting. I was too focused on my escape, so I didn't slide up in my seat and resume a regular driving position until I was out of the... You think you're in lust with me? Welcome to the party, pal. Grab a ticket. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, though. It's very nice of you. It feels good to be wanted. Sometimes people don't always want to fuck you. Sometimes they do. And hopefully when the person that wants to fuck you wants that, they're hot and they're not ugly. So that's always a plus. I was able to drive quite easily, but okay. I was able to drive quite easily, but I was so panicked that I almost crashed into the adjacent row of cars as I turned out of the parking lot and into the open corridor.
I don't know exactly when the gunman stopped shooting. I was too focused on my escape, so I didn't slide up in my seat and resume a regular driving position until I was out on the street again, and fleeing as fast as my car would travel. I'm not sure exactly how long I drove for, but I did so very quickly. It occurred to me that I might get pulled over by the police, but I decided I didn't care. It would save me waiting for them in the parking lot of the fast food restaurant, which is where I ended up calling them from after nearly getting into several accidents while driving. The police officer was there within a few minutes, and after explaining what had happened to her, Who said humming is healing earlier? Should we do some heel humming? I can't tell if I mixed Jurassic Park with Star Wars there, but that was really quite pleasant. I know I can't sing, but I think humming is a little bit easier than singing. I don't know. That still might have sounded like shit. Because I think I found out the one time that my singing makes people go insane while my reading makes them calm. It's human purring. The police officer was there within just a few minutes, and after explaining what had happened to her, she calmly offered me a ride to the police station so I could give a longer and much more detailed statement. My car wasn't roadworthy anymore, so I was given a ride back home where I explained to my very tearful wife that someone had just tried to murder me for no apparent reason whatsoever. It was a terrible time for both of us, but for weeks I believed that I had been almost the victim of a very aggressive carjacker and nothing more. But I was wrong. The police found the man who tried to shoot me, and at first I was amazed. I had a lot of faith in the federal police force, but the speed at which they apprehended the man was impressive nonetheless. Once again, I expected his motive to either be greed or addiction, as in he wanted my vehicle. But while greed was indeed a factor, it was not my vehicle that the man wanted. He wanted my life. And after the police tracked him down and arrested him, the man chose to cooperate in exchange for a more lenient sentence, and what he told the police was truly shocking to me. He'd been hired to kill me, after discovering that there was a bounty on my head, and he discovered this on a sort of... I was hired to kill that guy. That's one of the most beautiful humming voices you ever heard. Do you think so? Did it actually sound nice? Because that gives me hope. If I can read, if I can talk good, and then I can hum up pretty good, I believe that maybe I can learn how to sing one day. And then and only then. It sounds creepy. Yeah, it always sounds creepy. Do I do weddings? Wedding crashes. The only thing I'm good at weddings is spiking the punch. When I take singing lessons, I do have a friend who is in a band, and he told me he would teach me, so I don't know. I really just need to like commit to it and have it be like a thing that I do, I guess. Even if it's just like once a week, I feel like I'd be able to like learn maybe a decent amount. I don't know. Oh, your cat doesn't like the humming. Tell him. It baffles me how you're not at the 10 million subs yet. You have the voice of an angel. Thanks, Jumbo. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just really seems like the channel doesn't really get past a certain amount of views, and I generally do not really know. I don't really know how to like make the channel like pop any further, if that makes any sense. And you know, I stick to my schedule, whatever. I mean, I do have people currently clipping things and trying to make a bunch of clippy crap or whatever. Actually, you guys want to? We can do an update on that. See how my clipping is going. And tell it, because I paid for 5 million views to like not basically to people to make shorts of the content and then distribute them separately so they hopefully go viral or whatever the fuck. But let's see how far we've made it. The clipping bot. What if it was just like one big scam and fucking just didn't do anything? It'd be hilarious. Hilariously sad. Logging in. Okay, oh, that's not terrible. 155,328 views. Granted, I guess nothing's gone like viral yet, but spread over many accounts. I mean, that's still 155,328 people who are like, what's this, you know? And I don't know. Maybe it amounted to something. I have no idea. I guess we'll know one day when someone comes in and said, hey, I found you in one of your shorts, man. One of your shorts. What's up, Jay? How you doing, dude? We're just recording Dark Web. Dark Webbington Stories. Are we just part of Joel's Truman Show experience? Sometimes you wonder, honestly. Am I the center of the fucking universe? He'd been hired to kill me after discovering that there was a bounty on my head, and he discovered this on a sort of invisible website accessible to only certain people who knew how to find it. And the investigator used the English termed the Schmain-Schmaracter. The investigator used the English language term dark web when I spoke to him, but the significance of this was lost on me for quite some time until I heard about other people being targeted in similar contract killings. The man confessed to having been hired by an anonymous source and had no idea why they wanted me dead. But what he did say was that the man who hired him seemed to have a very intimate knowledge of my work schedule along with where I parked my car. And this is how we came to learn that it was probably one of my coworkers that had paid him for my death. But despite everyone in my department being questioned, as well as company executives, no arrests were made and no definitive evidence was ever found. Now, I wasn't surprised. The prognosis had been bleak from the beginning. If someone knew how to hire a hitman on that dark web, even if it was an incompetent one, they most likely had the wherewithal to delete any evidence of the exchange from their computers. And this meant that even after their digital devices were analyzed, police were no closer to finding the person who tried to have me killed. Naturally, a huge part of me wanted to depart the company. The crumpany. What if there was a company devoted solely to crumping? Did you see Katy Perry was dating Justin Trudeau? I thought that was so fucking weird. It just seems like one of them, their Illuminati relationships. Crumping like the dance trend? Yes. Yes, indeed. Crumping is pretty underrated for sure. Do you think Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau crump together? But they're just like right next to each other, just like,
not touching, just straight up crumping. I just finished all my applications to music school. Nice, dude. Let's flip and go. We are gonna learn how to play that piano one way or another. Naturally, a huge part of me wanted to depart the company and find work elsewhere. I couldn't possibly work alongside anyone I suspected of wanting me dead, and that's what I told the executives. That was a bit of bitter irony to find out that I'd secured a job that I didn't even want anymore, but in the end, I made an offer that I was made an offer. Little crumplings. More proof of reality as a sitcom. Katie and Justin, the king and queen of the lizard people. Do you think they're lizards? I don't know. I really do sometimes wonder, like, you have these celebrities. How hard would it be in some weird science fiction realm to create a clone? Like, we know cloning works, right? But you create the clone and then you fill said clone in with memories of the other person, of the previous existing person's scanned brain, right? So can you imagine? I mean, I already have it all figured out. Like, I could map out the fucking factory myself on how it would work. But you would literally have a factory that creates the clone from these embryos or, like, fashions in like stem cells. And then it just also, in the process of doing so, the robots that are building them or whatever, basically meat, 3D printers with meat, would just formulate the brain to its exact stasis of when it was previously scanned. And then you could maybe update it as well with, like, certain thoughts or ideas. I guess that's the movie. That would be the same one. Get Your Ass to Mars with, Arnold Schwartzy man. Carrie cares and caught on stage with her eyes blinking from the sides. That's what I've been saying for years. Why lizards, though? What's the deal with the lizards? They're just in charge? Or they're just smarter than us? How the hell do they shapeshift? Is it fucking chameleon-style powers? Dude, Total Recall is such a good movie. Well, they should have had lizards in that. The brains. What's my thought on Love is Blind? Probably not as good as Love on the Spectrum. That's like a goated show. Absolutely fucking goated, bro. This is reminding me, Joel, to remind you to finish Entropy 02. Played again recently, still blows me away. Oh, Jackie Chan, I was going to ask you, do you know, are there actual updates on Half-Life 3? Or is that all just hearsay baloney? They were the last advanced civilization before they were forced to the underground after the last major reset. So, like, what? Then humans showed up on a rocket ship or something and were like, hey, this looks like a nice planet. And the lizards like, who's on the surface of our beautiful Earth? We stay down here where we've been chilling for a long time. We can also make ourselves look like the monkey and trick the monkey. Why don't they just enslave the monkey, not through coercion, but just straight up laser guns? People accuse Katy Perry of having men/robots perform for her when she's collecting money from home. Honestly, like, if you're that fucking wealthy, there's no fucking reason that most of your work shouldn't just be passive income at that point. So if they can figure out some way to just let you chill at home and jerk off while clones or whoever the fuck, like body doubles, are doing your routine while everyone's like screaming in the audience, like, just let it happen, I heard there are rumors about Half-Life 3, but I'm not holding breath for now. And that makes sense, yeah. I don't know. I was genuinely hoping, like, and there's still hope, but that by the end of, like, this month, we might hear something. What about passion for the craft? But, dude, you can't possibly imagine that there's a single ounce of passion that Katy Perry has for any of her music anymore, any of the traveling, any of the fucking fans, any of it. Like, after close to 2 decades of just like absolute stardom at the tippitiest top of like the Illuminati, triangle tower. It's not a pyramid, it's a triangle tower. I just want to fucking chill. I want to eat people's faces. I want to, suck out their pineal gland. I want to have a night in. Just a chill Friday. I don't want to be fucking traveling. You get sick when you travel. You never sleep right on the spaceship. Am I gonna hate you guys after 2 decades? Maybe. Who knows, bro? Who knows? Maybe on live stream, if I'm still streaming in 2 decades from now, honestly, I should count my blessings if that's the case. But you might suddenly hear a gunshot go off during this. I'm just kidding. Don't worry. But you will hear, ASMR sounds of me slurping brains and butter noodles. Nothing like some face eating after reaching the top. What else are you supposed to do? You're bored. You ran out of stuff. You did the skydiving. You did the cocaine. That kind of fucked up your dopamine already. It's like, the only thing that gets me excited anymore is sacrifice night. That's the only thing that gets me wild, wet and wild. It was a bitter irony to find out that I'd secured a job that I didn't even want anymore. But in the end, I was made an offer I couldn't refuse. Now, I was offered an inflated salary, extra benefits, and I was promised the company parking lot would be reinforced and manned by security from then on. I was also offered a considerable one-time payment as well as legal aid from the company's lawyers to keep the story out of the media, as the executives didn't want any bad press. Now, if I was a single man, I might have refused on principle. But since I was trying to start a family, it was my future wife that made the final decision, and if anything, staying at the company might help me root out the person who tried to have me killed. But I never did figure out who it was. None of the other candidates, including those in the final pool, displayed any observably strange or erratic behaviors in the immediate aftermath, leading some to theorize that the person who hired my potential killer was someone from outside the company who was intent on doing it harm. Now, this remains the most haunting mystery of my entire life, but not purely because I came so close to a violent death. It's because it serves as a reminder that a man can do everything right, keep himself spiritually and morally pure, and he still can attract the kind of evil that's been spoken about since man. I will stream until the last day of humankind. That's true. All of my VODs will reverberate as sound waves through the known universe, until the last little bit of entropy is sucked dry. Have a good night. Oh, Lottie Lou. Gotta go get ready for work. Take care. Hey, see you, Lottie. Take care. Watch after the UK for us, because we're coming back for revenge. Whatever that means. It's because it serves as a reminder that man can do everything right, keep himself spiritually and morally pure, and he can still attract the kind of evil that's been spoken about since man first learned to speak. Diarrhea. Alright, guys. Woo. That was story 3 of the Dark Web series. And we got one more. Hey, Sonomi, what's up, dude? Uno más. I want to hear Joel's Mongolian throat singing as the bomb goes off. Does it sound terrible? You can be honest. It's Daft Punk. It's pretty much Daft Punk. I'm doing game stuff in the background of my hardcore lurking. Yeah, you know, I think you supposedly get it right whenever, like, all of a sudden the vibration from your throat starts to make like almost like a whistling sound. You know what I mean? Where it like reverberates at such a frequency perfectly enough that a sound is generating almost like a whistle, where it sounds like a bug maybe. Guys, I'm getting sick. What's some quick health boost I can do to take and save me? Supposedly that Zicam, you know, the Zicam stuff, you can go to I think you can find it at really a grocery store or any sort of like pharmacy type place, over the counter pretty much, like, and it's like a boost of zinc. You take those every like 3 or so hours or something, and it like, especially as you're like starting to get sick, and it supposedly cuts into your sick time by a flick ton. Look up an overtone series graph. I'm gonna look that up at the end of the stream. Also, I gotta do laundry. Son of a bee. I don't know why. Laundry is like my least favorite chore. Because you can do dishes, right? And then if you have a dishwasher, you can just like fucking throw them in there, and then it does it for you, and then you can just get the dishes as you need. But it's like laundry, it's like you gotta take it down, and then you gotta like put it in the washer, which, what a pain in the butt, right? And then you gotta time it up and take it out and put it in the dryer. Don't let it sit in its own moisture for too long, or it's gonna get moldy and mildewy. And then you gotta fucking go fold it. Like, I get it, that's the process, but holy shit. Can't there, like, how is there not already a washing machine that immediately drops the shit directly into a dryer, right? Like, how is there not, like, a simple system where as soon as the washer's done, it just, like, the floor drops out and it goes right into the dryer, and then it closes sealed, and then it starts tumbling around the dryer, and then immediately a fucking robot shows up and folds your shit. They do exist? They do exist. Wait, really? Really? What, 2 in 1? Yeah, but isn't it just like them stacked? Like there actually is 2 in 1? You could drop your clothes off at a laundromat. Yeah, but then they would see all my poop stains. That'd be embarrassing. But actually, that sounds kind of sick. A fucking laundromat? Kind of embarrassing, though, when you have your own washer and dryer yourself. Repairing the stuff is money. Yeah, I wonder how much laundromat level. Wait, drop it off at a laundry? Oh, you mean the ones you have to go and put your shit in? Yeah, but then you have to, like, that's even worse. Someone could steal your shit at a laundromat. And in fact, that happens all the fucking time. Every time I ever went to a laundromat in the past, there's just like some fucking homeless piece of shit. It's like, oh, I was just looking around. I must have got the wrong one. Oh, man. Did I take your clothes? Oh my God, I didn't know they were your clothes. I thought they were my clothes. Nope, they're mine. Yeah, now I have to kill you. Now I gotta scoop your fucking brains out. Okay, so the TLDR of this is don't F around with the deep web. So even if you don't read this whole thing, take that lesson to heart for the love of God. So I used to screw around with cryptocurrencies in a very big way actually, but I won't bore you with all the nerdy little details. Just know that I was 4 digits into it and always looking for a chance to grow my pot. And so one of the major places for crypto dudes to congregate was the deep web or dark web. And this is mostly And so one of the major places for crypto dudes to congregate was the deep web. And this is mostly because they believe the surface web was heavily monitored, which I guess it is, obviously. But it's here that I was introduced to someone named Andre by a mutual friend. Andre said that he ran a crypto investment fund out of Belarus, and that if I made an investment, I could get double, maybe even triple the returns in just a matter of months. Now, the friend who introduced us said that Andre was legit, and so after a few weeks of talking back and forth to see if I could trust the guy, I transferred him the same amount in Bitcoin that my buddy did and then waited to see what he could do with it. Well, as it turned out, Andre could do a lot with it. And week after week, he showed me how the amount in my little pot was growing, and at first it started off slow, but as time went on, that relatively small number got bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it got to the point where I didn't want to risk losing such a large amount of crypto. It wasn't exactly some life-changing amount, but withdrawing then meant that I had literally 10 times more money than when I first started. But when I reached out to Andre and asked him how I would go about doing that, he made it very clear that it'd be a very foolish thing to back out then. And he told me not to lose my nerve, and that within a few months my pot could be worth tens of thousands of dollars instead of just a few thousand. And I wanted more money, that goes without saying. But at the same time, I knew that the longer it was out there, the bigger the risk of losing it. And so I told Andre that respectfully I'd like to withdraw what I'd earned. He couldn't exactly stop me, but he was incredibly insistent. Not quite to the point of intimidation, but that was just around the corner. Oh, I should have said that more creepily. But that was just around the corner. Up your butt and around the corner. Sir, I think you got my Ben 10 boxers. Yeah. Ben 10. Damn, that was one of those shows I completely missed. Was it good? Sir, this is a Wendy's. You cannot deep fry your dirty underwear in here. Hey, what's up, Andre? Young author. Mostly silent viewer, but you were on my YouTube rap, so I wanted to say hi because I thought that was fun. Thank you so much, Emmy. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you. And thanks for letting me know. Please be a loud viewer. We need more loud viewers. Screaming and smacking their hands onto their desk. That's how I know when someone's serious. If you can afford to do the wash and fold service, do it. It'd be so nice depending on the place. It's around 80 cents to $1 something a point. I used to do it when I lived on the road. I loved it. Interesting. So you just bring like trash bags of your shit to people to like just do your laundry? And you just get it back nice and beautifully folded. Joel. Milk, lemonade. Okay. He couldn't exactly stop me, but he was incredibly insistent. Not quite to the point of intimidation, but that was just around the corner. Now, he didn't really turn me on until I tried... Oh, turn on me, sorry. He started to turn me on. I saw the new Wicked for Good movie, Wicked Part 2, went to the theaters on Saturday. Nice, how was it? Was it like an MK Ultra, like, hypnosis experiment? Were all the actresses as fat as they said that they were? What if that was part of the musical? Milk, lemonade, around the corner. It's where fudge is made. Donald Trump is in the movie Wicked. Didn't watch the FNAF 2 movie. I have not. I didn't even know it was out yet, but I guess now would be a good time. Yeah, who would Donald Trump play in Wicked? I feel like he would be... I feel like he would probably be the guy behind the... Or no. I mean, you would have to have something symbolic, I suppose, but I could totally see him being like the guy behind the curtain or whatever. And honestly, in fact, I don't even really need a heart. I have the courage. I have pretty much... I'm not afraid of nothing. A yeep, yeep, yeep. He'd be a munchkin. Oh, that's right, the Oompa Loompa with the orange. That'd be so fucking funny. It's just like a series of clones of him. Oh, wait. Are there Oompa Loompas in Wicked? Or no. The Munchkins, that's right. Well, they would have to change the Munchkins around. Do the Munchkins look like anything? Do they have like orange skin? Munchkin. Wizard of Jizz. Let's see. Oh no, they're just little kids.
Hey, I'm a fucking munchkin. Give me a little bit of candy, if you would.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Apparently they gave them drugs so they would stop growing, in case the movie took more than a year. That's a little bit of Wizard of Oz lore a lot of people didn't know. It's kind of like basically forcing your Pokemon never to evolve. Crazy.
And little peoples. Yuck, 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 yuck.
Okay, I wanted more money. That goes without saying. But at the same time, I knew that... Right. We'll just go here.
We represent the lollipop.
We represent the lollipop kids. But, you know, pretty much just licking lollipops and walking around and being kind of like a little bit of a nuisance to the stupid witch, the disgusting, mean witch. Not a lot of people like her. I don't like her. Nobody really does. I wanted more money. That goes without saying, but at the same time, I knew the longer that he was out there, the bigger the risk of losing it. And so I told Andre that, respectfully, that I'd like to withdraw what I'd earned. Now, he couldn't exactly stop me, but he was incredibly insistent. Not quite to the point of intimidation, but that was just around the corner, it seems. He didn't actually turn on me until I tried to withdraw the amount, at which point I only got back the amount that I initially invested, even though my wallet with Andre now said 0. And that's when I realized that the whole thing was a scam, and how whatever was going on, I certainly wasn't making any money from it personally. Now, I tried complaining to my friend about it, the one who'd put me in touch with Andre, but then he turned on me too. I tried warning him that Andre wasn't what he'd seemed, but my friend wouldn't listen. He told me that I made a big mistake in withdrawing my crypto because I put the whole system in jeopardy for everyone else. Now, it still wasn't too late to reinvest, in which case there would be no harm, no foul. But not doing so would leave everyone... hanging dry, himself included. And that's when I realized that my friend, emphasis on the quotation marks there, must have been in on it, because nothing I said to him seemed to make a single bit of difference. All that mattered to him was getting me to reinvest by any means necessary, including threats. He told me Andre and his friends were not people I wanted to mess with, but since I was pretty adept at online security, I didn't think that they'd be able to find me. Now, I think on their own that they wouldn't be able to, but since I strongly suspect it was my so-called friend who betrayed my IP address to them, it was easy. Now, it started when they did something to my computer, something that made it freeze up before an Internet Explorer window opened and some kind of program downloaded and installed itself as I'm screaming no, 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 over and over. Now, I tried saving my PC by pulling all the wires out of the back,
and I even double-checked that my VPN had been properly functioning at the time of the attack. And I thought I disconnected. Crypto as in Kryptonine? Yes. This is stories from Superman's homeworld. What time is it? 1:30. I went to a Christmas parade tonight. My baby niece was in it. Oh, that's cute. ¿Cómo te atreves a hablar español? Oh, it's not. It's 10. Is it? I don't know what fucking time it is. It's all subjective. It's all made up. I can't stop talking like that. Fuck. I thought I'd disconnected it just in time, but just a few days later, weird things started happening around my apartment building. I first noticed when I came home that the window nearest my fire escape was open. It didn't look like anyone had been inside my apartment, but I very clearly remember closing the window before I left my apartment that morning. And that was enough to have me looking for someplace else to stay, at least until things blew over. But literally the same night that I went and backed up all my essentials, someone stole my car and I woke up to a note in my mailbox that just said, "Reinvest." Now, I went to stay with my mom that very same day, and over the next couple of days I reported my car stolen and canceled the month-to-month lease on my apartment. It was devastating, because I had to basically trash all my devices on the assumption that they were compromised, and it took me years before I was able to fully replace everything. But that wasn't the worst of it. On the day my lease ended, I returned to my apartment to pick up the rest of my things. But when I did, something was waiting for me. I was walking towards my mom's car with a bag of clothes under each arm when a car started to turn down the lot and speeded towards me as it passed. And ended up crashing into the car that I took cover behind, and as it drove off. Sorry guys, I ran out of things to say. I guess I'll just keep reading. Drank a ton of coffee at 4 p.m. today, so I'm not sleeping anyway. You're never getting to bed ever again. You're gonna stay awake forever. It ended up crashing into the car that I took cover behind, and as it drove off, my mom started to freak the hell out of having to almost watch her boy get smushed. And only then did I come clean on what had happened to me, and you can call me a mama's boy if you want, but seeing her go full bear mama mode after I told her what... Have you done hospital stories? I do believe so. It's been many, many moons. You're behind on your stream. Yeah, I can never quite tell why. I can't quite tell why YouTube sometimes puts people behind, others not. It just doesn't make any sense. It's losing. Why would it decay as the stream goes on? You just have it on and it just starts to lose sync with the host. That just doesn't make any sense. Only then did I come clean on what had happened to me, and you can call me a mama's boy if you want, but seeing her go full bear mama after I had told her was kinda cool. And she sent me to live with my uncle out of state for a while, and she got my dad to teach her how to shoot his gun just in case someone came around in my dad's house looking for me. She made a difficult time a lot easier, and she even offered me a few $100s to get myself a new laptop and a new phone. And I paid her back once I got access to my crypto and cashed it out, but I really, really appreciated what she and my uncle did for me at a time when I honestly thought that I might end up getting murdered over some damn crypto scheme. I don't even know how it all worked either. Like, I think Andre was using our money to make it look like he had this big investment network, which attracted people in the same way a Ponzi scheme does, but I don't know for certain. All I know is that whoever it was, he must have been working with some serious people if they were able to hunt me down and willingly do me harm. Oh yeah, his friend could have been Andre. That would make some sense. I visited a dairy farm and a yogurt factory. We should never, ever eat dairy. Why?
'Cause they're mean to the milk makers.
Can we just suck the milk direct from the teat? Laser God, what's up, broski? How you doing? We're actually getting to the end here, and we can talk about other stuff too if you want to. But that was the last story. So if you guys have any requests or stuff you want to talk about, be sure to speak now or forever hold your balls in your hand. Your huge balls. My bad, fam. Merry Christmas. No worries. Merry Christmas, bro. As I'm Malik, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Can you do a special and start recording the first story of the next stream? Do a special? Do a special! Sorry, what do you mean? I should take my contacts out. I don't want to read about the scandals you're up to. Oh, it's gonna get crazy. You want me to read about conspiracies? Which conspiracies? By the time you stream again, all the things I want to talk about are forgotten. Yeah. It's all gone. Hey, Rookx, yo, that's why them young goat man hates everyone. He done been creeping for too long. Dear goat, the young blood clot. Big Ed, boom, boom, booyakacha. Big Bang Theory. Oh yeah, let's read the outro. Alright, you guys think of something funny for me to say? Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday night. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of this YouTube channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. I also have a true crime channel called Saturn Soul that you should totally check out and subscribe to. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, milk, milk. Katy Perry is a sex robot. It's only 10:35. What am I supposed to do until 1 a.m.? Where are... Oh, you're on the East Coast. I don't know. I need to go to bed early, honestly. Because I woke up at like... I went to bed at like 1:30 last night, maybe 2. But then I woke up at like 6:30 a.m. and just been up ever since. Can you believe it? Joey, that's all the time we have today, folks. Oh. That's... Wait, what is it saying? That's all the time we have today, folks. Is that a thing? Is that Porky the Pig? I don't even know. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, that's all the time we have today, folks. Oh, can you do it all old-timey? That's all the time we have for today, folks. You fucking dragon. You fucking dragons. I don't know. I was trying to think of like an old-timey, like, that rude thing to say. What would they call you if they really wanted to hurt your feelings? Yeah, you dopes. You dragon beasts. You absolute Neanderthals. No. I don't know. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, that's all the time we have today, folks. Why I oughta. My asshole hurts. You little scallywag, get out of there. Zing, zoom, knucklehead. You buffoon, you Turk, you scally, you bums, you wayayada. You little gooba, you little Oompa Loompa. Oompa Loompa's Willy Wonka. I feel like there's got to be some crossover. Imagine like Willy Wonka versus the Wizard of Oz. You silly gooba. Alright, guys. Unless you want to take me down some other rabbit hole, I think it's time to crash out. Go to beddy bye. Got a new day tomorrow. I got laundry to do. Why'd I wake up so early? I was just hanging out with friends and then went to early bed, and I don't know, I was just so tired. It's like 1:30, something felt just like unconsolable. Went to sleep, woke up early and went to breakfast. Felt good to do. What if Joel was spelled bowl? Jowl. Jowl. I could see your jowls. Dripping slobber. What did I eat? I had a pretty good breakfast, honestly. It was like a breakfast burrito and then one big pancake, orange juice, coffee, water, and they made like homemade bread at this like diner, but it didn't taste homemade. It just tasted like normal bread, so whatever. No worries. But it's good to see you guys. I love and appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to get these deep web stories up and edited over on Patreon first. That's where it goes. It's only $1 a month over there for early access. Otherwise, we'll get it up on YouTube. Same time, same place. But yes, guten Abend. And yeah, be good. I'll be back streaming probably Wednesday, most likely. We got Christmas episodes coming up. We got some new Christmas merch. So be sure to check that out soon on shop.spreadshirt.com/letsread. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for everything. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.